Everton Football Club are having an absolute shocker. Financial problems, 10 points already docked, and with things looking like they're going from bad to worse this season, Sean Dyche has decided enough is enough. And so I've been drafted in to try and restore some pride back into this once great club, and hopefully bring back the glory days. Now, to be fair, looking at the squad, it's not particularly difficult to see why Everton have been performing so poorly this season. For starters, when your goalkeeper rated only 82 is the best player in the entire squad, you know that you're heading into trouble. On top of that, with a sprinkling of pretty averagely rated players across the back line and in wide positions in midfield, plus the fact you've got a more defence-minded central midfielder playing in a cam position behind the striker, I think it's pretty obvious why things aren't going according to plan at Everton Football Club. Now, to be fair, they've actually got a sprinkling of some very good young players who I think can feature heavily for us as this career mode progresses, starting off with the Scottish right-back Nathan Patterson, who potentially could be the long-term replacement for Seamus Coleman on the right-hand side of my defence. Now, Jared Branthwaite is another one who, whilst he still also has a very average rating of 75, with him too being 21 years of age and being a rarity at the centre-back with a left foot, and also being an English player at 6'5", again, he's another player who I think could have a really good long-term career at Everton Football Club. The third 21-year-old on the list is the Belgian Amadou Onana, and at 76 rated and at 6'4", he too could be a towering presence in the heart of my midfield. Plus, long-term, he could potentially find himself partnered by this man, James Gardner, 22 years of age, 75 rated, 6 foot as well. We could well have a really exciting spine to this team for the foreseeable future. However, with the likes of 37-year-old Ashley Young clearly on his way out the door, with Seamus Coleman having featured at the club for so long, very nearly getting to the end of his career, and the likes of Idrissa Gana Gueye, who at 33 years of age is not exactly going to be pulling up trees this season, there's still going to be a hell of a lot of work for me to get through if I want to try and take this team to the next level. And unfortunately, with only £39 million to spend due to Everton's financial problems in real life, I've got a feeling I'm going to have my work seriously cut out for me. However, as you can see, aside from a 39-year-old backup goalkeeper, I don't really have too many other options that I could potentially try and sell to try and raise some funds for the remainder of the season. And on top of that, with the board easily expecting me to fight off relegation and finish mid-table in the Premier League, plus get to the round of 16 in the FA Cup, hopes are high at Everton Football Club that we can have a pretty positive start to life under my tutelage. And so first things first, before I decide to dive into the transfer market, I want to try and stamp some authority onto this team, setup or formation, and our tactics moving forward. Now, with me having a more defence-minded team, I actually don't mind having this 4-4-1-1 setup moving forward. However, what I do want to do is move both of my central midfielders back into a more defence-minded position to try and provide some more solidity to both of my defenders. And with me keen to give some of my younger players more of an opportunity this season, I'm going to replace Idrissa Gana Gueye and move in James Gardner, who can hopefully form a fantastic partnership with Onana at the heart of my midfield. Now, in terms of my tactical vision, as much as I would like to become either a tiki-taka or a gegenpressing team, I just don't really think we have enough quality in our ranks to try and fulfill those lofty expectations. So instead, I'm going to try and focus on playing the ball out wide and trying to swing crosses into the middle. And with me having the likes of the 6'2" Englishman Dominic Calvert-Lewin and the 6'4" Portuguese Beto both on my ranks, I think it's going to be the perfect tactical setup to get the best out of those two strikers. Now, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been a key attacking figure for Everton Football Club over the last few years. However, with him constantly battling niggling injuries left, right and centre, I've got a big decision to make over whether I'm going to put my trust in the young man to be the leading line for us this season. Plus the fact that I do have a new signing in Beto who is rated 3 higher than him and is 1 year younger than him. So for me, this is going to be the first opportunity that I'm really going to need your help with. Let me know down in the comments below who you would like to see leading the line for Everton Football Club this season. Do you think I should stick with Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front, or do you think I should give the Portuguese Beto a chance to try and stake his claim as the main man in my starting 11? Let me know down below what you think. And speaking of needing your help, the other massive talking point is what to do about the curious case of Dele Alli. 27 years of age and only 12 months left on his contract. He's been in and out of Everton Football Club over the last season or two, having moved over to Turkey to play for Beşiktaş and not really getting any game time. But now that he is back, what am I going to do with the former wonder kid Dele Alli? With me having a position behind the striker that potentially needs to be improved, it is the perfect opportunity for this man Dele Alli to come in and try and stake his claim in my starting 11. Or do you think I should just cut my losses, just get rid of the former boy wonder to bring in some much needed funds to try and boost this transfer budget? Once again, let me know down below what you think. Now, thinking ahead to the rest of the starting 11, with a decision to be made up front about Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto, with a decision to be made in the central attacking midfield position between Decore and Dele Alli, with me wanting to put my faith in youngsters like James Gardner, Onana, Branthwaite and also Patterson at right back, it means that there are only 2 other areas in the team that I want to immediately improve. One of those being at left back, with Mikalenko being the only recognised one who can play there, there, and the other one being either an upgrade to Dwight McNeil on the left-hand side of midfield, or an upgrade to Jack Harrison on the right-hand side. Now, having made the decision that either Beto or Dominic Calvert-Lewin will lead the line for me this season, it means that I'm going to have to try and find a position for this man Arnaut Danjuma for the remainder of the season. And fortunately enough, with him having experience playing in wide areas for other teams like Villarreal and Tottenham Hotspur, it means it's going to be very easy to change his position only 4 weeks in his training development plan to try and move him over to the left-hand side of midfield. However, that does then just leave me with the on-loan Jack Harrison being the only other man who can play on the right-hand side of my midfield. Now, as you can see, I have gone to the trouble to try and shortlist some of the best young attacking talent across European football and try to find players that could potentially fit into Everton's budget, and this man, Marcus Edwards, was the man who really stood out to me as someone whom I'm sure would be desperate to return to English football and desperate to make an impression on the Premier League. However, just when I was about to consider putting in an offer for the young man, there was one other player who caught my eye. He's a man who is 4 years his younger and someone who is lighting up the Dutch league this season. He's got a handful of appearances for his national side Belgium and someone who has the potential to be a real wonder kid and a potential superstar across world football. That is right, Johan Bakayoko, the 20-year-old Belgian, joins Everton Football Club for £28 million. Not only is he an exciting prospect, but he has incredible stats right across the board. He has blistering pace, fantastic mental and technical stats as well. He will slot perfectly into the right-hand side of my midfield, and he's someone whom I think the Everton fans can start to get really excited about. However, it is a very big transfer, and it is one that has taken a fairly sizable chunk out of my budget for the remainder of this window. And with me still having other areas of my team that I want to improve, I think I'm going to have to be incredibly tactical and smart about the way I try and recruit for the remainder of the window. So of course that means I'm turning to you guys to try and get your help. Let me know who you want to see in an Everton shirt this season, and who potentially you want to see plying their trade for Everton Football Club. However, with my first signing done and the tactics and formations all set out, it is finally time to head into pre-season to see what these Everton players are all about. It's the first opportunity for the Everton fans to see me in action and to see what sort of tactical philosophy I'm going to try and imprint onto this team. And with Pickford already having to be called into action inside the opening 25 minutes, it looks like that potentially could be the story of our season. And with Decore facing his own struggles down the other end of the pitch, he's not exactly doing himself any favours in his battle for the central attacking midfield position with Dele Alli. At least there is one shining light though, and that is that man Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Clearly he's heard the conversations at the start of the season between himself and Beto, who's going to be the starting striker for me this season, and he has responded with aplomb. And it looks like new signing Johan Bakayoko could well be ready to tear up Premier League defences this season, even if he's yet to find his shooting boots. And so with pre-season over and excitement starting to build around Goodison Park as we look ahead to the first game of the brand new season, I try to boost morale in the squad and try and give the players the confidence that I believe they have what it takes to achieve a mid-table position this season. But here we go. It's a bright and sunny day in our opening game of the campaign as we welcome Fulham to Goodison Park, as we hope to put in a sterling performance in front of our home fans and try and pick up the first 3 points of the season. And a new season means it is the first new starting 11 to take their place. Pickford will start in goal, Patterson starts at right back, Tarkowski will take the captain's armband, he's partnered in defence by Branthwaite, and Mikolenko makes up the back four. Onana partners Ghana in the centre of midfield, with Decore playing in behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Bakayoko will make his debut on the right-hand side, and Danjuma will take his place on the left. Well, what a big game, and what a big moment for me. It's my first proper competitive game as manager of Everton Football Club, and I will be eager to try and put on a good show, I should say, in front of our home fans, as Bakayoko's eager to do the same thing, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin inside the opening 5 minutes with his left foot gives us an early 1-0 lead. Well, seemingly out of nowhere, my word, Decore just charged into the Everton box and he laid it on a plate for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who with a first time shot on his weaker foot absolutely smashed it past the goalkeeper, much to Marco Silva's disgust. It's Everton 1, Fulham 0. Well, my word, what an electric start, and you can feel the atmosphere here at Goodison Park. That is exactly what the fans wanted, and this is exactly what they want to see. Onana wins the ball back high, drives into the box. Can he try and toe poke it into the back of the net? He just sends it wide. I cannot believe it. That was a huge opportunity. Should he have tried to curl it round the goalkeeper? Perhaps that is the finish of a central defensive midfielder, but look at that. He was just inches away, and I cannot believe it. It remains 1-0. Onana wins it back again. This has been a really, really positive start so far here at Goodison Park. Dominic Calvert-Lewin lays it off to Ghana, and look at this run into the box here. Ghana to make it 2. Ghana does make it 2, and within 15 minutes, we are absolutely running riot. Well, look at the celebrations. The Everton fans are going absolutely absolutely crazy, and you can understand why. A brilliant start to this campaign. It has taken us just 15 minutes to give ourselves a 2-goal cushion here at Goodison Park. That's thanks to that man Gardner. We lead 2-0. Fulham now have it though, and they're going to try and look to see if they can peg us back immediately. Raul Jimenez drives into the box here. Branthwaite tries to put a challenge in, doesn't manage to do so, but in the end it's bundled back into the Wolves striker. And it's headed away though, sorry, the Fulham striker I should say, getting my words a bit mixed up there in the heat of the moment. But eventually we do manage to keep our composure, unlike me, and we do manage to get the ball clear. Robinson goes round Patterson, and as you can see, the tide is starting to turn here. Fulham starting to turn the screw and try and see if they can find themselves a way back into this game. Anthony Robertson to try and bring it down the left-hand side, tries to cross it in. It's well blocked off by Patterson. They've got a throw, and presumably it's a short one they're going to take. It's a really poor one, but Patterson doesn't do enough, and Reed wins it. Garner, though, blocks it, and it's going to go out for a Fulham corner. And it's one that Wilson is going to take. Looks like he's going to try and throw this one in the box. He does. Can we get our head on it? Yes, we can with Tarkowski. Only out as far as Reed, though. Reed with a nice volley all the way back out to Wilson. Wilson back to Andreas Pereira. He's blocked off by Garner. Brilliant play from the central defensive midfielder. And now Dominic Calvert-Lewin can try and stretch his legs. And he feeds a wonderful ball back over to James Garner. He's going to look for his second goal of the game. He tries to drive into the box here. Cuts it back across for Danjuma. And Danjuma with his left foot. The strike was too powerful, and he just played it past Leno. And oh my word, what an incisive counter-attack. We've ripped Fulham apart for the third time in this game. Well, I cannot believe what I am seeing here. James Garner, in an advanced position, just put it across the box to an unmarked Danjuma. And with his left foot, he almost tried to put it through the legs of Leno, but Leno got his wires all mixed up and ended up deflecting it into his own net. I'm delighted, it's 3-0. Well, my word, what an opening 45 minutes. 3-0, and I think that surpasses all of Evertonians' expectations here, including my own. I was not expecting us to be 3-0 up, but long may it continue. Patterson throws a lovely ball out to an unmarked Danjuma. Once again on the left-hand side, Fulham really struggling down that left flank as Mikolenko with the overlap manages to drive to the edge of the box here. Can he try and feed a ball across to Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Can't quite make it into him, and it's headed away by Fulham. Well, we are picking up the second half exactly as we finished off the third. Bakayoko now has it. He looks for the overlap into Patterson. Patterson to dink it across, looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who heads it down and heads it wide. Mikolenko gives it away though really cheaply, and now Fulham have an opportunity to try and see if they can find a way back into this game. It's Wilson. Wilson goes past my defender and then blazes his strike over the bar. Branthwaite right the way across into the path of Nathan Patterson. One touch down, one touch into Tarkowski and into Garner. Lovely play. And this is an Everton team that are brimming with confidence after a fantastic opening hour here as Bakayoko tries to drive into the box, trying to look for a ball across to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Couldn't quite find him though. Jimenez to try and drive the ball away. It's Onana though who comes across. Him and Garner have been absolutely sensational at the heart of my midfield so far in this game as the Belgian Bakayoko looks to try and go past Bassi. Doesn't quite have the imagination to do so though. Short pass into Raul Jimenez, who's desperately trying to see if he can come short and try and get his team some way back into this game with only about 10 to 15 minutes remaining on the clock. Jimenez though is the man who is looking dangerous into Willian, and that pretty much sums up Fulham's display. Jack Harrison on as a sub finds Danjuma on the left hand side, and Danjuma's going to look for the overlapping run of Ashley Young, the 37-year-old veteran, on as a substitute, drives into the box looking for a strike and instead blazes it wide. Out to Seamus Coleman, another veteran on the other side of my defence though, and he finds a pass into Bakayoko, and look at the speed of the young man, but he can't quite get past Bassi. Been a real ding-dong battle between the two of them as we win a corner that Danjuma is going to take, and I'm going to try and throw this one into the penalty spot. Looking for the head of Gomez on as a substitute as well, but it's only headed out as far as James Garner. He will try and give it back to Danjuma, who will throw it back into the box, looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Finds the centre-back Branthwaite, who finds himself in the left wing position. How on earth is he there? Andre Gomez to pick it up though, has this attack, lost a little bit of momentum here. Branthwaite trying to take it around, and that is why you do not find a centre-back in an advanced position like that, but it does not matter because the referee blows for full time. Well, my word, what an absolutely electric way to start off this campaign. I salute the support from the fans. Look at the smile on my face. That man Danjuma, he got the final goal of the game that gave us a much deserved 3-0 victory. As at full time, we take the 3 points here at Goodison Park. Well, look at the smirk on my face. You can see how happy I am. I'm trying to keep a calm figure behind that look, but obviously it was the perfect start. I think we've got a fantastic group of players, and I'm really hopeful we can do something special this season. Well, not only does Garner score his first goal of the season, but our first 3 goals of the season put us top of the Premier League table. I don't expect us to stay there for too much longer, as we've got Luton Town bearing down our necks in second place, but what a brilliant way to start our campaign. 1 goal, 1 assist, and a 9.4 rating in his opening game of the campaign so far. James Garner was absolutely sensational, and I have to be honest, I think he is already starting starting to form the foundations of what is hopefully going to be a solid partnership with Amadou Onana for the foreseeable future. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is another man who's hit the headlines. His man of the match performance with a goal and an assist as well, and a 9.8 rating. Clearly, he was listening to the doubters before the campaign, and clearly he is eager to try and put the fight to this young man, Beto. Now, I've spoken a lot about me wanting to try and put my faith in some of my youth players this season, and with Everton Football Club known for being a team to have a great academy, it is no surprise to see that is where I'm going to be turning to try and unearth our next gem. And as you can see, there are three players who have particularly caught my eye. Firstly is Denis Pavlov, the central attacking midfielder and striker, has a potential rating of 88 overall. The 16-year-old Finn Thomas Namey at 6'2" has a potential rating of 93, and the potential long-term successor to Jordan Pickford in between the sticks, Jack Fletcher, at just 16 years of age, he's already 6'4", and he already has a potential rating of 94. I think these could be three really big players for the football club that we could see as this career mode progresses. However, with me keen not to just keep our talent pool very narrow, and with me keen to try and see if we can unearth some of the best young talent across both European and American football, I have enlisted some of the best scouting talent that is available to me in this career mode. However, this is where once again I'm going to defer to your better judgment. Where would you like me to see send those scouts? Would you like me to try and look for some of the best players in South America? Would you like me to look a little bit more close to home to Northern Europe, or perhaps go even further out to the likes of Australia and Asia? Let me know down below in the comments where you would like me to send my scouts for the next episode, and potentially where we might be able to find the very next Everton superstar. However, it is time for us now to head straight back to the football, and after what was a pretty exciting opening day of the campaign at home to Fulham, we travel all the way over to Birmingham to face off against a resurgent Aston Villa side under Unai Emery's tutelage, as we aim to see if we can continue our fine form and get the 3 points here today. As you can see, there are no changes to my starting 11 that beat Fulham 3-0. Of course, how could there be? It was a sensational performance, and I've got to hope we can continue that today. But it's going to be a much tougher test under the lights here at Villa Park, and a much sterner test of our competitiveness ahead of the new season, and we haven't exactly started off particularly well, as Immobile manages to get past several of my defenders and then strikes. Oh my word, what a fabulous strike, and what a brilliant way to put Aston Villa in front 1-0 inside the opening 5 minutes. Well, I cannot believe it. An absolutely shocking start. Here I was talking about how we're going to test ourselves against Villa, and we have started off absolutely shockingly. Aston Villa lead 1-0. Immobile, Aston Villa already on our case here, searching for two already, and Pickford comes to our rescue. Well, my word, they are all over us here in the opening 10 minutes, and they are on the edge of my box again. It's hacked away, this time by Onana. We need to wake up at the back here, otherwise we're going to be in serious trouble. Zaniolo into the feet of Ollie Watkins. He turns, looks for Immobile. Immobile back into the box, looks for Douglas Luiz. Jordan Pickford with an acrobatic save, just about gets it clear. Nathan Patterson will try and play it down the line. It rebounds off the Aston Villa defender. Well, look at this press from Aston Villa. It's relentless at the moment. We can't even seem to find the way out of our own half here, as Onana picks it up though. We just can't seem to find a ball forward. I'm desperately trying to search to see if I can find any of my players in space, but look at this Aston Villa press. It is absolutely relentless. Danjuma though plays it down the line, gives it away. Look at this, it's been the story of the game so far. Aston Villa coming again, wave after wave of attack here as Zaniolo tries to dart down the right hand side. Brantwaite comes across though really nicely, and this is our opportunity to try and hit them on the counter attack. Danjuma, he's got an open Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the centre. He finds him. Dominic Calvert-Lewin into the box to strike, to score. We are back on level terms here at Villa Park. He slides in celebration and he waves in front of the fans. It's his second goal of the season in as many games, and once again it is an incisive counter attack played into the path of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and when he's got that much time and space, when he is on form, he will make no mistake from that position. I'm delighted. It's 1-1 into Onana. We're going to try and see if we can build out from the back now, as we've got a little bit more confidence as we felt our way back into this game, and Bakayoko took that one really nicely, and he now tries to cut it back onto his left. Can he find a ball into the box? Gets that one all wrong though. Douglas Luiz cut him off at the source, and now Aston Villa can try and break away here. It's Immobile, the goal scorer, and the danger man, who flicks the ball forward into the path of Ollie Watkins. Those two looking to try and combine to get Aston Villa back on top here, as Douglas Luiz ends up driving into the box. Oh, it's played off the back of Ollie Watkins, who I think had just strayed offside, and that was very, very unlucky indeed. My word, he is just inches away from being onside there. More and more Aston Villa pressure here. They are just pressing us so high up the field here as we desperately try and see if we can get away, but we can't as Branthwaite goes and gives the ball away. Matty Cash down the right-hand side. Aston Villa looking to strike back immediately. Matty Cash with a lovely reverse ball into his path. He's got an option to try and put it into the box here. Can Branthwaite try and hold up? No, he can't. Zaniolo still has it. It's Danjuma with the challenge. Doesn't manage to win it back, though. Douglas Luiz has it onto his left. Finds Immobile. He strikes. Jordan Pickford to the rescue. But we are way over the allotted 1 minute of added time here. It's thrown into the box. Headed away by Patterson. Referee, where on earth is your whistle? Finally, there it is. About 7 or 8 minutes overtime. My word, we are going to be hoping to try and start this second half a little bit better than we started the first. Somehow, despite such a poor performance in the opening 45 minutes, we still find ourselves on level terms, and we find ourselves with a wonderful opportunity now to try and see if we can hit them on the counter-attack. But in the end, Dominic Calvert-Lewin couldn't quite get there, and they clear their lines. Alex Moreno for Villa. Short throw into Pau Torres. He plays it back to the left back, plays it up the line into the path of Patterson, who goes one-on-one with Tarkowski, and he manages to drive past him. He's looking for a ball into the box. He does manage to find a cut back into Douglas Luiz. Patterson has it back. In the end, the attack loses a little bit of momentum as Kamara now has it, but Douglas Luiz has it into Immobile, the goal scorer. He's going to try and play it out to Patterson again. It's Patterson on Patterson. Patterson makes the challenge, and it goes out for an Aston Villa corner. It's out to Kamara. Kamara on the edge of the box, trying to search for an angle here into Immobile. Bakayoko, though, is back there defending, and he releases Decore, who releases Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And look at the space the Englishman now has to run into. Has he got the legs to try and go past Konza? I don't think he has, so he cuts it back onto his right. He's going to strike. Oh, my word. It is absolutely beautiful. He slides on his knees. That may well be the best goal of the lot from his 3 so far this season. Well, he had it all to do. He was totally isolated. He was being chased down by 2 defenders. He didn't have the pace to drive past them. He cut back inside. And look at that for a finish. He curled it round the goalkeeper. Unai Emery cannot believe it. Somehow we're 2-1 up. 20 minutes on the clock. Aston Villa have got a free kick in a very dangerous position, and one they're going to float into the box. Pickford comes out and makes himself big and collects it. And that is exactly what I was looking for. Tarkowski going to play it down the line into Bakayoko, who's been uncharacteristically quiet so far in this game. But look at this for a run. He just drives through the channel, past 2 defenders, and with his right foot, perhaps he could have put a little bit more power on that one. In the end, it was easy for Martinez. You can tell he was on his weaker foot. He just didn't connect with it properly, but he's going to hope to try and connect with this corner a little bit better as he throws it in for Branthwaite. My word, it's cleared off the line by Alex Moreno, and we have really turned this game on its head, as we look like the more likely team to get another goal and to put the game to bed. But just as I say that, Aston Villa are going to now try and see if they can catch us on the counter-attack. Matty Cash has got the pace to get away from Mikalenko into Immobile. He tries to play it across for Ben Yedder, and just as I was filling up with confidence, Aston Villa bring us crashing back down to earth. Well, it was a brilliant breakaway from the villains, and it was the 2 experienced strikers who just combined to unlock my defence. And in the end, it was an easy one for Ben Yedder. He just passed it into an empty net. Pickford could do nothing about it. Aston Villa back on level terms. Youri Tielemans now. This game is swinging from left to right. The pendulum of momentum is all over the place here as Ben Yedder ends up striking it. What on earth was Jordan Pickford doing? He struck it straight at Jordan Pickford. It was an easy one for him to just palm away or even catch. And he just palmed it straight into the path of Youri Tielemans, who was on hand on the volley with his weaker foot to just first time volley it past Jordan Pickford. And Aston Villa have just turned this game on its head inside 5 minutes. What on earth was happening? Ben Yedder, it was a simple strike for him to save, and it just fell to Tielemans. What on earth was Jordan Pickford doing? I was singing his praises earlier, but that was so poor from the Englishman. I do not believe it. It's 3-2 Aston Villa. Unbelievable. I just cannot quite believe what I have just seen. All that hard work to get us back into the lead here, and we just go and throw it away. But Seamus Coleman is going to release Bakayoko down this right-hand side. Can we try and see if we can hit Aston Villa, catch them by surprise here? But we've ended up losing a little bit of momentum. Onana now has it. It's into James Garner. James Garner feeds in Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He turns nicely. Doesn't really have too many options. Feeds it back across. This time for McNeil. Oh my goodness. This game just is the gift that keeps on giving. Dwight McNeil on the volley. Unbelievable stuff. Deep into stoppage time, gets us back on level terms. Look at the celebration. I am up there with the rest of the players. You cannot quite believe what you are seeing here today. Well, my word, I thought we had lost the momentum. I thought the chance was gone. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the volley. Oh my goodness, what a volley from Dwight McNeil. I just thought there was no opportunity for us to score, but he just popped up at the back post and that is a brilliant volley. Unbelievably here at Villa Park, it is 3-3. Well, oh my word, I've got to just try and catch my breath here for a moment. Absolutely end-to-end stuff. A fantastic advert for Premier League football here today. That man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, his 2 goals almost clinched us the victory, but in the end, at full time, we have to settle with a 3-3 draw. Or talk about being denied by a late McNeil equaliser. He's kind of lost his place in the starting 11 due to the arrival of Danjuma on the left-hand side, but with an impact like that off the bench, he is doing his cause absolutely wonders, and potentially he could be a real thorn in the side for this man Danjuma as the season progresses. For now, though, we are 2 games into the Premier League campaign, 4 points on the board, and 2nd place in the Premier League. But don't forget, with still just 2 weeks remaining of the summer transfer window, just £15 million remaining in the budget, and still some improvements to be made to this squad, I still need your help. Let me know down in the comments below who you want to see plying their trade in an Everton shirt this season. But as for today's episode, that is that. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this brand new Everton career mode. Long may it continue, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. Last episode we took over at Everton, and after spending £28 million on a new star winger, we had a great start, picking up 4 points from our opening 2 games. But with only a few days left in the window and still some areas of the team to improve, we've got a lot of work to do if we want to take this team back to the glory days. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, last episode I put the question to you as to who you think should be the leading man for me up front. Would it be either Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or would it be the new signing Beto in real life from Portugal? Now, as you can see from the opening couple of games, Beto hasn't exactly impressed off the bench with only 1 appearance and a 5.6 rating. However, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been in sensational form, 3 goals and 2 assists in just 2 Premier League games, and clearly he may have been listening to the conversations that we've been having before. However, looking at your comments, I'm certainly getting some mixed reviews. For example, this one: although Dominic Calvert-Lewin has made a good impression in the first episode, in the near future Beto should definitely start between the 2. Better potential and a lot of versatility. There's even some suggestions to bring in a completely new striker, perhaps in Sesko from RB Leipzig, as he's pretty decent in most stats. He's got great potential and is very tall, so can score any crosses you'll be playing in under your wing play tactic. However, I'm then also getting some other comments suggesting that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is amazing in career modes, so I should really keep him up top. So to be honest, when it really comes down to it, although Beto does have a better overall rating by 3, and although he is 1 year younger, I cannot lie with the stats and I cannot lie with the start that this man Dominic Calvert-Lewin has made. However, what I think I will do is I will probably have to put a post out there and get you guys to decide between the 2 of them, and hopefully then you can make a proper decision as to who will officially be my starting striker. Now, in terms of my next question to you, it was all about who you think should be playing in the central attacking midfield position. Now, as you can see at the moment, I've got Decore playing there right now, and whilst in terms of his stats, he's not exactly the most exciting looking player, he's pretty average right across the board. I cannot really argue once again with the stats and the start he's made to the season. Just 2 games in and already he's racked up 2 assists and a 7.7 rating. However, the big question was, should I consider trying to revive the career of this man Dele Alli, once a former wonder kid both for Spurs and England, now at 27 years of age and only 74 rated, his career has begun to slide? Or even should I go one step further and try and use up this only £15 million budget I've got to try and bring in a brand new central attacking midfielder? So once again, I put the question to you in a poll on my channel, and oh my word, it was an absolute landslide victory for Dele Alli. And despite the fact he's only got 10 months left on his contract, all of you pretty much want me to make Dele Alli the main man here in this Everton team, and to do whatever I can to try and revive his former England career. And so that means, in spite of Decore's brilliant performances in the opening 2 games, he will lose his starting spot. Dele Alli will come in that position behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. I'm going to change his development plan to be focused on being a playmaker to try and improve his weak foot, and he's now going to get the perfect opportunity to try and see if he can win one more Everton contract, but more importantly, try and revive what was once a fantastic career. Now, speaking of that £15 million budget, with my squad still clearly in need of some improvements right across the board, I've taken some inspiration from some of your suggestions, the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, Tommaso Baldanzi, Magno, Zorgane, perhaps even Mudryk from Chelsea, Sesko of course from RB Leipzig, and also the young left-back and centre-back Ural Hato. However, as you can see with all of these players, I am still waiting to get back all of my scout reports, so I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer before I make a decision as to whether or not I'm going to dive back into the transfer market. And with the likes of Derby County away in the Carabao Cup and Wolves at home in the league before I'm likely to get those scout reports back, we are going to jump straight into the footballing action this episode. And it is a fairly solid start, very much helped by the fact that Derby got 2 men sent off in the first half. Beto strikes, he's at the double to secure an easy path to the next round as we beat Derby County 2-0. And fortunately enough, we follow that up with another victory to maintain our unbeaten start so far this season. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Danjuma both getting the goals as it's another 2-1 win, this time at home to Wolves. 3 games played and 7 points on the board. Everton Football Club, can you believe it, are top of the Premier League table. It may not last for much longer, but we will enjoy this moment while it does. With my scout reports finally coming in on all of those shortlisted players, it's time for me to have a think who I'm going to spend this £15 million budget on. Now, starting off with Emile Smith-Rowe, while I think he would be an absolutely fantastic addition, with me just bringing in another winger to play on the right-hand side, and with him being £20.6 million, I don't think he's going to be a potential option I'm going to be able to bring in this season. Tommaso Baldanzi is another one who I think could be a really interesting addition. He's got bags of potential, already being 78 rated and just 20 years of age, plus he offers us versatility in the cam and centre-forward positions, but like Emile Smith-Rowe, with him being £30.7 million asking price, I think that's going to be a bit of a stretch in our budget. Tales Magno is another one who offers us a great deal of versatility, and at 21 years of age and 73 rated, he's got loads of potential to grow and develop, plus the fact he could only be purchased for about £6 million, he could definitely fit into my transfer budget. However, with him now moving to Bayern Leverkusen, would he want to give that up for Everton? I'm not quite sure he would. Similar to him, Adem Zorgane also offers us a lot of potential, and at 23 years of age has loads of room to grow and develop, plus he does have versatility both in the centre of the park and central defensive midfield, as well as that I would be able to get him in, as he's only being asked for about £10.4 million. However, with me having the likes of the 22-year-old Amadou Onana and the other 22-year-old James Garner beginning to form a solid partnership right in the centre of the park for me, I'm not quite sure this is a position I need right at this moment in time. Mudryk, much like Emile Smith-Rowe, I think could be a really fantastic addition, and with him only being about £15.4 million, he might be able just to be negotiated below that £15 million budget. However, with him joining Chelsea in recent times for about £80 million, once again, I'm not quite sure they'd want to get rid of the young Ukrainian immediately, and certainly not offload him to Everton. I agree about Benjamin Sesko. He's tall, he's powerful, and he could potentially be an absolutely world-class striker, and he could fit into my system perfectly. However, with the ongoing discussion of this man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and his competitor, Beto, again, it's another position that I think I'm pretty well stocked in at the moment, and perhaps it's not something that I need to improve right now. So with that in mind, it looks like all of the pieces in the puzzle are finally starting to fall into place for one specific transfer. He's a man who perfectly fits into my philosophy of bringing in the best young and up-and-coming talent, and at just 17 years of age, he already has racked up 30 appearances for Ajax. That is right, it is official. It is time to make my second signing of the summer. Jurel Hato will join Everton Football Club from Ajax for £6.25 million. I mentioned midway through last episode that Vitaly Mikalenko was the only left-back that I had in the squad, so I think it makes perfect sense to bring someone in who not only can play at left-back but also centre-back as well, and with him being just 17 years of age, already 73 rated, and having that something special, I'm going to change his development plan to be focused solely on becoming a left-back, and I am really excited to see what this young man might be able to bring to Everton Football Club. And with us facing off against Sheffield United in our very next game at Bramall Lane, he is going to get the opportunity to try and impress with immediate effect. And whilst Dominic Calvert-Lewin does retain his place up front, as for the rest of the team, Jordan Pickford of course starts in goal, Patterson on the right, Tarkowski and Branthwaite in the centre, and of course it is that man Jurel Hato who will make his debut. Onana and Garner start in midfield, Bakayoko on the right, Danjuma on the left, and of course Dele Alli will be starting in the cam position behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin as he attempts also to try and put in a decent performance and resurrect his career. Koulibaly for Sheffield United to start us off here, and Branthwaite comes out aggressively and wins the ball back really well. That is exactly what I would want from my young centre-back, and he's going to play it out to another young left-back in Hato for his first touch in an Everton shirt. Brings it in field for Onana. Onana goes for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin shifts it onto his right. He's just looking for some sort of option, and he finds Bakayoko on the right-hand side. I'm going to wait and look for the overlap here. I tried to find the overlap. It was really poor. It's not the sort of start to this game I was hoping to make. Robinson for Sheffield United. Into Jayden Bogle. He's blocked off though by Danjuma. Has done a really good job of winning the ball back, and now he can drive forward here. Danjuma, brilliant stuff from the young man. Dominic Calvert-Lewin now going to try and feed the ball right the way across. What a fabulous ball it is into Bakayoko. He continues his run. Has he managed to keep it in? Yes, he has. Tried to drag it back into the running path of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Couldn't quite get there though. Jayden Bogle Out to Robinson on the right-hand side, feeds it back down the line into Bogle. Into Koulibaly now for Sheffield United as they look to try and see if they can pull on an attack here, but Onana wins it back really nicely and feeds it into that man Dele Alli. Look at him go here, tries to drive down the centre and finds a ball out to Bakayoko. Perfect stuff here, Bakayoko onto his left. Is he going to try and line up a strike? Yes, he is. It's a brilliant one, but just wide. James Garner. Out to Patterson on the right-hand side. It's been all Everton so far in the opening 20-25 minutes here as Bakayoko goes down this side again. He's been heavily involved. He feeds it back into Garner. Garner across into Danjuma who strikes. What a save. Really good stuff here from Everton. We are taking the game to Sheffield United in the hope that we can try and break the deadlock. It's fed across though. No one can get on the end of it. Bakayoko will win it on the edge of the box. Feeds it back out to Danjuma. And throw it back into the box looking for James Garner on the back post. Can't reach him. It's trying to one there by Onana and eventually it's cleared away by Sheffield United. Sheffield United have a free kick and this is their first real foray into my half here as Brewster's going to try and line this one up and he throws it in and my word, in the end it was on target and forced Pickford into a save. He made it look relatively easy. It was a bit of a hairy moment there for us at the back. Hato with the throw into Danjuma. He goes all the way back to Branthwaite. That wasn't exactly the pass I was looking for, and Branthwaite, though, brings it back forward and ends up losing it to Danny Garcia. It's really poor, but Branthwaite comes across, doesn't put a decent enough challenge in, and now Brewster can bring it forward for Sheffield United. Oh, my word, it's bundling all over the place, and then in the end, they just blaze their strike over. Well, it's been a 0-0 first half here, as you can see. Neither team really able to break the deadlock. We had the better chances in the early part of the half, but Sheffield United managed to get themselves back into it in the second half. Hopefully, Dele Alli will look to try and arrest the lack of creativity on our side as we look to start the second half. Tarkowski out to Patterson on the right-hand side. He brings it in field. Nice little ball into Bakayoko, who's been the most heavily involved, tried to strike it, got it all wrong, and he hasn't really had the immediate impact so far since joining in the summer that I was hoping for as Dele Alli tries to press high, doesn't end up winning it back. Yeah, so I've got to try and see if there's more that I can do with Bakayoko to try and get the best out of the young man. But for now, it is Sheffield United's opportunity to try and bring the ball forward into Holler. Holler now turns, feeds it back into Danny Garcia, who strikes. It's good block from Branthwaite. Dele Alli looking for an option here. I'm going to try and see if I can feed this one over. It's a poor ball from Dele Alli. Expect better from the young man in those sorts of positions. Koulibaly into Vinny Souza now for Sheffield United. Danny Garcia has it in a nice little pocket of space. Hollowhow brings it back into the pot of Danny Garcia, who strikes into the arms of Pickford. Danjuma. We are on the hour mark here, and again, neither team are able to break the deadlock. It's a lovely ball over from Onana, looking for Danjuma, but couldn't quite find him. It was good defending in the end there from Jayden Bogle, and eventually he manages to bring the ball clear and out of defence. Danny Garcia with a midfield splitting pass into Brewster. He's under a bit of pressure, but manages to wriggle away from it. Danny Garcia has it again. This is really good stuff here from Sheffield United. Feeds it out to the left-hand side to Larouche. He's going to try and see if he can get a ball into the box. It's blocked off by Patterson, but he keeps the ball alive. Patterson tussling with him. Really good defending, and a lovely little ball into the path of Bakayoko, who can now try and stretch his legs down this right-hand side. He has the pace to continue his run. Instead, he's going to try and check back inside and feeds a ball into James Garner. He now tries to run down this right-hand side, doesn't have any options whatsoever, and that has pretty much been the story of this game so far. Every single attack we've tried to bring forward has been stifled, and in the end, Sheffield United will try and block us off, go for the counter-attack, but we win it back again. Bakayoko now tries to go down the right-hand side, yet again cuts it inside, and it's just our final ball. It's been really poor. Both teams really struggling with the quality here today. There's just 5 minutes remaining on the clock here. I have made a few substitutions to try and see if I can inject some life into this game, but just as I've done that, Sheffield United unlock my defence, and it's Holler who finds himself in a lovely little pocket of space inside my penalty area, and he strikes to give Sheffield United the lead here. Well, look at the crowd. They've gone absolutely wild. We made some substitutions, but unfortunately it had a negative impact. Our defence completely fell asleep, and he was just left open with a brilliant opportunity, and with his left foot powered a wonderful strike past Pickford, who had no chance. Sheffield United lead 1-0. A goal in the 87th minute, and now we've got to try and find something from absolutely nothing here. We've got to try and see if we can find a way back into this game to at least get an equaliser here. So frustrating as Patterson tries to come across. He's hacked down by the left back. Sheffield United win it back. We are now deep into stoppage time, and they have possession, and we do not look like we are able to get it off them. McBurney into Garcia. Sheffield United going to try and see if they can double their lead here. Goes out wide into Holler. The referee blows for full time. Well, it's such a disappointing result here at Bramall Lane against a team that we really should be expected to beat. But it's that man's goal that proved to be the difference here today as we succumb to our first defeat of the season. It's Sheffield United 1, Everton 0. Well, to be fair, I think it's a little bit harsh and unfair to say that we're stuck in a rut, considering that was our one and only defeat so far this season. But it's a defeat that sees us slip from our top place position, and in the early stages of this season, we've already been knocked out of the Champions League and Europa League spots as we slip down to 6th place. Unfortunately, Dele Alli wasn't exactly giving us that forward thrust that I was hoping for from the 27-year-old Englishman. Perhaps it is going to be quite a few games before we see the best out of him, as it has been quite a while since he's racked up a series of games. As for the debutant Yoel Hato, I think he can be fairly pleased with his opening performance in an Everton shirt. Didn't exactly set the world alight, and frustratingly for him, was unable to keep a clean sheet. But I am hoping that he is going to provide some stiff competition for this man moving forward for the remainder of the season. And I'm hoping at just 17 years of age, he has plenty of opportunity to grow and develop. Now, in the first episode, I touched upon this incredible youth academy that I have stumbled across, specifically with the likes of Thomas Niemi, who's got a potential rating of 93, and of course, the potential successor to Jordan Pickford in goal, Jack Fletcher, who just 16 years of age, already has the potential to be 94. However, with me enlisting the help of some of the best young scouting talents across Europe, I mentioned I didn't want to limit my talent pool and only look at my own youth academy. So what I am going to do is I'm going to set up some scouts right across Europe. Of course, I am going to stick to England to begin with. With us having a decent pool of French-speaking players, it is France that's going to be the next place that I'm going to try and see if I can unlock some talent. And finally, with the likes of Amadou Onana and Johan Bakayoko both showing they have the potential to be world-class superstars, for my third and final scout, I'm going to send him off to Central Europe, more specifically to Belgium, to try and see if he can find the very next Belgian world-class talent. For now, though, it is time to return back to the football and return back to Goodison Park for what is going to be a monumental clash at home in front of our fans against the North London Giants, Arsenal. The fans are already excited for what is probably going to be the biggest game so far of the season. Mo Salah has made the unlikely switch to Arsenal. What a game we potentially have on our hands. And speaking of surprises, there aren't really any surprises to my starting 11. It is the usual starting 11 for me. Hato, of course, retains his place at left back. The only real change is that McNeil plays on the left-hand side instead of Danjuma, who drops to the bench due to a bit of fatigue. Of course, Dele Alli looks to try and see if he can play his way into some form as he starts behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Here we go then, what is going to be definitely the toughest game of the season so far, but my word, what a huge surprise. Mo Salah playing for Arsenal Football Club. You never would have thought you would have seen it. They side from EAFC 24. Ben White for Arsenal. Almost all of the players, all of my players for sure, inside my own half as we try and see if we can defend from this man, Mo Salah. He shifts it onto his left and plays a ball into Odegaard. Turns really nicely into Gabby Jesus. Out to Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey strikes and puts it wide. Nice short pass into Garner, who just overran it a little bit and gives it away in a really dangerous position there. But Tarkowski comes across. Really good defending from the Englishman. And now Dele Alli, that man, can try and release a ball down the left-hand side. He looked for the run of Dwight McNeil. Eventually did manage to find him. And Dele Alli continue his run into the box. He can, but he's blocked off. Instead, it's Hato with the overlap into a really good position. Plays it into Dele Alli, and he hits it. But it hits against the defender and is beaten away for Arsenal. Patterson with the throw goes short into Garner, who found a really nice pocket of space there in the midfield. Into Bakayoko now. This has been a really ding-dong battle here in the opening 15 minutes as Dominic Calvert-Lewin drags it wide. Oh my word, it was a huge opportunity and an even bigger miss. He had loads of time to pick his spot and he didn't. Dragged the shot wide, and look at the disappointment on his face. Ben White down the right-hand side finds that man, Mo Salah, the danger man, who's yet to really had an impact on this game so far, but he's found a nice ball into Odegaard. Lovely pass into Thomas Partey, who struck straight at Jordan Pickford. Thomas Partey into Martinelli. Arsenal trying to see if they can unlock this stubborn Everton defence as Thomas Partey now tries to find a ball back into Martinelli. Nice little 1-2 between the two of them, but Tarkowski again, he's had a fine game so far with another big challenge into Bakayoko. He's going to try and bring it forward. Garner plays a lovely 1-2 into the path of Bakayoko, and look at the space he's got to run into here. He's got the beating of Mendy, cuts it back onto his left, goes to strike. What a strike, good save. My word, what an end-to-end opening 40 minutes here we've had at Goodison Park. Neither team able to break the deadlock, but both teams have had ample opportunity to do so as Ramsdale makes himself big and collects the ball well. It's Odegaard for Arsenal down the line, of course, into that man Mo Salah, and he does a lovely little step over into the pass of Gabby Jesus. He's been blocked off though again by Tarkowski. Brilliant defending. Mo Salah for Arsenal, driving into my box here, unopposed. post. Garner, though, with a brilliant challenge. And now Bakayoko is released. He doesn't have any options whatsoever, though. So I'm just going to have to hold the ball up and try and wait for someone to join him up front. But Dele Alli picks it up, and Dele Alli loses it in a really dangerous position. And now Mo Salah wins it into Gabby Jesus. He tries to go past Branthwaite. He does go past Branthwaite into Mo Salah. And it's Tarkowski again. It's potentially a man-of-the-match performance from the young man. Ben White with a good pass into the feet of Martin Odegaard. Back out wide now to Mo Salah. Hato, though, one-on-one with him. And he's had him in his pocket all game, really. The Egyptian has had absolutely no luck down that left-hand side. Martinelli now has it for Arsenal. But just as I say that, Mo Salah now has crept in. And Mo Salah has given Arsenal a 1-0 lead. Well, there I was talking about the defensive performance of the 17-year-old. But perhaps a little naivety crept in there. Mo Salah just got round in front of him unopposed. And when you give that man that much time and space, he will make you pay. Wasn't the best finish, to be fair. Was straight down the pipe, but Jordan Pickford couldn't do enough. And Arsenal lead 1-0. Short one into Garner. Manages just to win it back from Thomas Partey, but he's under a bit of pressure here. This Arsenal press is relentless. And now Tarkowski ends up losing the ball in a really dangerous position. Gabby Jesus, his Branthwaite comes across, and he gives away a penalty. And surely we can have absolutely no argument about that. He complains to the referee, but I've got to be honest, looking at it, it was a stonewall penalty. Tried to make the ball, didn't get anywhere close to it. Yes, Gabby Jesus went down like a sack of spuds, but it will make no difference. It was a stonewall penalty, and now Arsenal, although they're making a substitution, of course it's going to be Mo Salah who's going to step up to take it. Mo Salah does take, but it's saved by Jordan Pickford, and the Englishman keeps us in the game here. Dele Alli into Dwight McNeil. Can we try and see if we can hit Arsenal on the counter-attack? It is Dele Alli down this left-hand side. Has he got the beating of anyone for pace here? No, he doesn't have the beating of Saliba. And the Frenchman does a really good job of winning it back from him and bringing it out of defence. Dwight McNeil down the line into Hato. What a ball into the Dutchman. And now he's going to try and see if he can drive down this left-hand side. Has he got anyone in the box, though? No one is getting in there in the end. He ends up smashing it against Saliba. And it's a chance that's gone begging. Decore on as a sub finds a lovely ball into Onana. Onana through the legs into Beto. Really nicely done here. Decore picks it up, and Decore strikes. Forces Ramsdale into a smart stop. Onana now picks it up in midfield. Into James Garner. Garner's going to play it out to Danjuma on the left-hand side. Danjuma into Beto. Beto takes it. Another big save from Ramsdale. And that is 2 saves in quick succession to keep the North London club in the lead. Patterson now has it into Harrison. It is full steam ahead here for Everton as we desperately try and see if we can find an equaliser. Onana blazes it against the defenders, but Beto keeps it alive deep into stoppage time. Harrison now has it. Can he try and see if he can find a ball in the box? Instead goes himself, and Ramsdale again with his 3rd big save. Well, we are well and truly deep into stoppage time. This is certainly going to be the last attack of the game. Harrison throws it in, looking for the head of Tarkowski. Headed away by Mendy, only out as far as Martinelli, and the referee blows for full time. Well, we gave it a really good go in the final 10 minutes, but unfortunately for us, it was too little too late as Jordan Pickford looks to the ground in disappointment. That man Mo Salah made the huge switch to Arsenal at the start of the transfer window, and he has come to bite us, which I'm sure all of the Liverpool fans will be absolutely delighted about. Full time here, it finishes Everton 0, Arsenal 1. And yes, whilst there is quite a decent gulf between the quality of the two teams, it must be said that Ramsdale's triple save at the end did absolutely wonders and certainly secured Arsenal the 3 points. And frustratingly for us, it is another loss, and it's one that now drops us into 8th place as we start to form a position in mid-table, which, to be fair, is probably where we belong at this point in time. Barring 1 or 2 mistakes, James Tarkowski certainly did help us, though, keep the score just at 1-0. A fantastic performance from the veteran Englishman. But unfortunately, just when I was going to say the same thing about the young Dutchman, Yoral Hato, he showed a little bit of naivety and a little bit of lack of concentration right in the worst possible timing as Mo Salah, the wily Egyptian, got in ahead of him and managed to arrest the 3 points for Arsenal. But now, as we see if we can try and get back in the win column over the next few games, we do manage to secure another 3 points, this time courtesy of a 2-1 away win against Brentford. Dele Alli must be so frustrated. He missed a penalty in the 35th minute, but Beto came on as a substitute and he scored 2 goals to give us a much needed win. But it's a win that is frustratingly backed up with a loss, and it's a loss to Sunderland 5-4 on penalties, which means that we get knocked out of the Carabao Cup. We're back in the win column though, courtesy of a very late goal from Dominic Calvert-Lewin to give us another 3 points, 2-1 at home to Luton Town. But the inconsistency continues as despite a late goal from Patterson, it is only enough to secure 1 point as we draw at home to Bournemouth 2-2. But despite our up and down momentum, we are still chugging along pretty nicely in the league table, up to 6th place with 14 points on the board, and we are just 1 point behind Spurs in the final Champions League spot. However, with the mighty Liverpool up next at Anfield, is this positive momentum about to come to a very, very abrupt end? Two huge rivals that are going to go head to head and face off here in front of an electric crowd, as we are going to see in my very first derby if we can collect the 3 points. And there's only going to be one change from the team that unfortunately picked up a 1-0 loss against Arsenal, and that is Mikalenko coming in at left back with Hato dropping to the bench. With such a big game, I need as much experience as I can get on the pitch, and so this is a team that I think can do the business here today. So here we go then. This is a Liverpool, as we know, without Mo Salah, without their best player. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they perform here today. They are still doing pretty well in the league, up to third, I believe so. But if we are ever going to do the business here against them at Anfield, this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Now, Bakayoko has it on the right-hand side, plays a lovely ball into Garner. Garner now is going to try and go into the centre here. He manages to wriggle his way into the box, strikes, big save from Alisson. Bakayoko will take the resulting corner and he fires it in, looking for the head this time, and Tarkowski, it's bounced around. In the end, Endo manages to get it clear. Garner, though, out to McNeil. It's been a fabulous start here. It's Anfield as Bakayoko brings the ball out to the left-hand side, fires it back in, looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Headed away, though, by the Liverpool defence. McAllister into Harvey Elliott now. Surely he's going to try and look for an overlapping run. Luis Diaz, though, finds an unmarked McAllister, and he tries to go past Tarkowski. Yet again, the Englishman with a brilliant challenge. 2 brilliant challenges. He's bundled over, though, and eventually loses the ball to Darwin Núñez. McAllister back into Harvey Elliott now. Can he see if he can find a ball into the box to Luis Diaz, who strikes, puts it wide. Nathan Patterson down the line into Bakayoko, who turns really nicely, does a really good job playing it forward into the path of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. A lovely little layoff there into James Garner, and James Garner now into the box, across into Bakayoko. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it is Dele Alli, the man, the myth, the legend, the former wonder kid that is Dele Alli, finally sparks his Everton career into life, and my word, what a time to do it at Anfield against our arch rivals Liverpool. Dele Alli has stepped up and put himself in the right place at the right time to fire into an empty net to give Everton a 1-0 lead here at Anfield. Oh my word, what a time to get your first goal of the season. His form has been so poor, he just hasn't been able to buy a goal, but in front of the Liverpool fans, you could not write a script any better than this. Patterson now down the line. We really have the bit between our teeth here, and this man Dele Alli certainly has as well, but unfortunately the pass just got away from him there. He was looking for a ball into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Unfortunately, he just lost his head at the vital moment. Into Darwin Núñez now. Look at the man who has, he's got the space here, drives into the box, and just, well, he should have perhaps absolutely smashed it. Look how furious Klopp is. McAllister with a short corner finds Thiago. Thiago's blocked off, though, by Dwight McNeil. And Dwight McNeil has won that ball really fairly, and now he can try and bring it out of defence into Dele Alli, who's hacked down there by Virgil van Dijk. Surely the Dutchman will at least get a yellow card here. What is the referee going to brandish here? He's calling him over. He's calling him over, and he does give him a yellow card. To be honest, I think he can be pretty lucky to get away with that one. Let's have a look at the replay. Well, he goes right through the back of him, and I'm not quite sure he gets the ball. Darwin Núñez again for Liverpool. Turns Tarkowski really nicely, but Branthwaite this time comes across. Really good defending from the Englishman. Dele Alli, of course, picks it up again. He is looking in fine form so far in the opening 40 minutes here at Anfield. Mikalenko tries to go down the left-hand side, but it's a good challenge from Alexander-Arnold. McAllister now for Liverpool. McAllister strikes, blazes it over. Well, we've got 45 minutes here to try and hold on to this 1-0 lead and hold on to what will be a memorable and historic win here at Anfield. Tarkowski. Short into Garner. Garner out to Patterson. Patterson goes back in the centre. Really nicely done. And what a ball here into Bakayoko. And the young man has acres of space to run into here. Can he find a ball on his right? He does. But it's well saved in the end. And Virgil van Dijk hacks it clear. Dele Alli picks it up again. We really do have the bit between our teeth at the start of this second half. McNeil into Mikalenko. Back across to McNeil. Fires it in. I was looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who was absolutely nowhere to be seen. Luis Diaz to try and bring this one through the midfield. And he's gone past Patterson like he's not even there. And he's cut inside. Where on earth is my defence here? A shocking display, and he done it again here. Luis Diaz is absolutely driving his team forward. Patterson comes across, can't put the challenge in. Darwin Núñez into the box here. He's held off, and is that a penalty, or is the referee blown for a corner kick? No, he hasn't. He's blown for a goal kick, much to mine and all the fans' relief. Branthwaite goes short into Onana, really nicely done. McNeil tried to turn it around the corner, but Alexander-Arnold read it really nicely. And now Liverpool have space down this right-hand side. McAllister into the box, looks for Darwin Núñez. In the end, it's easy for Pickford. James Garner Nice pass into Tarkowski. The centre-back finds himself in an unlikely foray forward here, but as you can see, he has absolutely no idea what to do with the ball. Garner now has it into the centre to Dele Alli. Dele Alli goes back, looking for Onana. Onana turns it around the corner into Mikalenko. He goes down the left-hand side into Dwight McNeil, and now he can try and bring the ball forward into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Endo was there. Good defending from the Liverpool man. Williams for Liverpool. Brilliant stuff to get away from the challenge, and now Darwin Núñez is going to try and see if he can release him down the left-hand side. Branthwaite come across, though, really nicely. Dominic Calvert-Lewin back into Dele Alli, who turned really well. Has he got the pace to drive forward here? No, he doesn't, but instead I'm going to try and feed a ball through into James Garner. A brilliant, brilliant piece of play. Bakayoko has it. Bakayoko strikes wide. Well, with 77 minutes on the clock, Dele Alli is going to make his way off the field to absolute rapture from the Everton fans. It's been a terrific display from the Englishman, and is this the display that can finally kickstart his career at Everton Football Club? Luis Diaz for Liverpool. With just over 10 minutes remaining, though, they're going to try and see if they can find a way back into this game, as Jota smashed it against Pickford, and Patterson just about gets there before it goes out for a corner. Bakayoko tried to turn, ended up losing it in a really dangerous position here. Jota challenged by Branthwaite, though, and now Garner can try and see if he can play his way out of trouble here. Garner brings the ball out to Dwight McNeil down the left-hand side, and look at the space now he's got to drive into. Has he got the pace to get away from Alexander-Arnold? No, he doesn't. Well, 90 minutes is upon us now. We are into stoppage time. Dwight McNeil has a free kick in a very dangerous position. Can he do an absolute miracle? No, he can't. I was going to hope to try and see if he can pull off a wonderful free kick and definitely win the game for us, but Liverpool now have it deep into stoppage time, but the referee blows for full time. Look at the players, they're absolutely delighted. They know how much this victory means, not just to our league position, but also to the fans as well. As at full time here at Anfield, it finishes Liverpool 0, Everton 1. Well, my word, Dele Alli, he's played 7 times so far this season in the Premier League, and he is yet to score until he stepped up at Anfield for a memorable goal to give us a 1-0 lead, and hopefully to reignite what was once a wonderful potential career. It's a win that drags us into the Champions League spots with just 9 games played, as we sit just 1 point behind our arch-rivals Liverpool. And with Dele Alli's career well and truly having lift-off here at Everton Football Club, that brings an end to what has been a fabulous episode. So thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. We've taken over at Everton Football Club, made some bold new signings and began the career revival of Dele Alli, but in today's episode, are we about to uncover the very next Wayne Rooney? And as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, we ended last episode in a blaze of glory, beating our arch-rivals Liverpool in a historic match 1-0. And whilst it was the long-awaited return to the goal-scoring chart for this man Dele Alli with his first goal in 7 Premier League games this season, the real man who seems to be stealing the show and stealing the headlines from the press is this man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's up by 1 rating to 78 overall, and with 5 goals and 3 assists in just 9 Premier League appearances so far, he has really started off this season in fantastic form, and it looks as though his performances are starting to leave a little bit of a bitter taste in the mouth of the Portuguese 25-year-old Beto, who's only just joined Everton and already looks like he's touting to the press that he might want to leave the club. And having scored 4 goals in 6 games in all competitions, 2 of those coming in 4 Premier League appearances, does he have cause for concern, and does he have reason to complain as to why he's not getting in the starting 11? However, having 2 strikers firing on all cylinders is absolutely nothing to complain about. And so it's kind of got me thinking, do I need to consider moving away from this more defence-minded 4-4-1-1 formation and perhaps look to try and incorporate both strikers on the pitch in more of a flat 4-4-2 formation, or even more of a narrow 4-4-2 diamond formation as well? But of course, with us performing so well in the Premier League so far this season, with 9 games played, 17 points on the board, just 1 point behind our arch-rivals Liverpool, and having risen up into the final Champions League spot in 4th place, the biggest question for me now is, should I really take the risk and consider trying to change this formation when it seems to be working so well for me? So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Should I leave Dominic Calvert-Lewin as the main man for me up front, or should I consider trying to switch up the formation to try and see if I can get the best out of both of them and try and incorporate Beto into the starting 11 alongside this man Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Now, way back in the very first episode of this career mode, I did make a point about how Everton in real life have produced several fine talents through their youth academy, and it looks like potentially this career mode may not be any different whatsoever, with 3 of those players in my youth academy with incredibly high potential, especially this man Jack Fletcher, who long term could well be be the future England #1 and the replacement for Jordan Pickford in goal. However, with me not wanting to keep my talent pool of players too narrow, I decided to send my 3 scouts out all the way to England, to France and to Belgium to see if they could try and uncover some of the best young talent across Europe. And just in England alone, it looks like we've uncovered some potential worldies, especially this man Harley Webb with a potential rating of 87, and also Dexter Potts, another man with a potential rating of 88. However, with both of those being goalkeepers, I'm not quite sure I need to integrate them into my youth academy quite yet. However, there is one man out of these 5 that I am very, very excited about, and that is this man, Oscar Perkins. He can play on the left-hand side of midfield, the left wing, and up front. He's just 15 years of age, and he's got a potential rating of 93 overall. And so with that in mind, he is going to be the very first player in this career mode that I am going to sign to my youth academy. It looks like the left-hand side of midfield is going to be his favoured position, and as you can already see, with him just being 15 years of age, he already has pace to burn. Perhaps his mental and technical stats can be improved, but with me making sure to put him on the correct development plan, I'm pretty confident he might be able to feature for us as this career mode progresses. However, just when I was taking the time to go through the remaining scout reports that came in from my youth scouts, there were 2 more players in particular who really caught my eye, and the first of those was this man, Leon Semmens, 17 years of age and already having a potential overall rating of between 76 and 94 overall. And with an overall value of already 800 grand, he is someone that I cannot pass up adding to my youth academy. And the second man on the list was another Belgian this time. This man, Brian Willems, at 17 years of age, he too has got a very high potential rating of 89, and just like his Belgian compatriot, he's got an overall value of 600 grand as well. He becomes the third man that I signed to my youth academy this episode, and with him being able to play both at right back and left back, and with him having bags of potential including 5-star skill moves and 4-star weak foots, plus with me changing his training and development plan to becoming a more attacking right back, he's another one whom I've got incredibly high hopes for. And finally, this man, Leon Semmens, it says he can play at both central defensive midfield and centre back. However, with him just being 5'8", I think it's more realistic that I'm going to see him in midfield rather than in my back line. And with his development plan suggesting he might be more suited to more of a deep line playmaker position, I think midfield is probably going to be a more long-term option for him. Now, my original plan was to obviously leave all of these young players in my youth academy to at least try and grow and develop for the remainder of this season. However, after going through my starting 11 and having a look at the strength in depth that I have both on the substitutes bench and in the reserves, plus after receiving a very respectable offer of 1.85 million for Idrissa Gana Gueye that I'm more than happy to accept, I have made the very bold decision to promote 2 of those 3 new youth academy signings straight up to the senior team. And as much as I would love to promote the player whom I believe could well be the next Wayne Rooney, with him only being 15 years of age, unfortunately, he is slightly too young at the moment and he's going to have to wait his turn. Now, with Leon Semmens only being rated 60 overall, and with the likes of Amadou Onana and James Garner forming a terrific partnership at the heart of my midfield, it's very unlikely that he's going to be able to force his way into the starting 11 anytime soon. However, with the 35-year-old Seamus Coleman retiring at the end of the season, and Nathan Patterson, the 22-year-old 72 rated, being the next best right back at the club, it is looking more likely that the Belgian Brian Willems may well get his opportunity to impress this season. And with him walking into my office telling me he's been dreaming about this moment and showing me that he's absolutely desperate to show everybody and the fans what he can bring to the team, I have decided in our very next Premier League game away from home at the London Stadium against West Ham to spice and shake things up a little bit here at Everton Football Club, and to grant the young man his very best wish, and that is to give him his debut for Everton in what is going to be a huge clash away from home against West Ham. I made a point at the very start of this career mode that I was going to put the emphasis on my youth players, and I was going to try and blood as many as I could into this starting 11, and what an opportunity this young man Brian Willems has to try and cement his place in the starting 11 at right back, as he starts along with Tarkowski, Branthwaite and Hatto in defence. Of course, Jordan Pickford keeps his place in goal. Garner and Onana and Dele Alli start in midfield with Bakayoko on the right, Danjuma on the left, and of course Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Well, it's a big moment for the young man here at the London Stadium against West Ham. What can he do to try and impress both myself and the Evertonians here in attendance to try and show that he is worth keeping his place in the starting 11? Bakayoko under a bit of pressure finds Tarkowski, who floats a nice little ball over to an unmarked Hatto on the left hand side, plays it in field for Onana, turned beautifully, really nicely done by the Belgium. He plays it over to James Garner. I'm going to try and look for Bakayoko on the right hand side. Bakayoko, I'm just going to try and wait for the overlap. Williams though doesn't try and give it to him, instead goes inside, lovely play, feeds it into Garner, straight at Fabianski, and oh my word, he was so close there to having his first assist inside the opening 10 minutes. into Hatto. Hatto down the line into Danjuma. It's been an electric start here for Everton here at the London Stadium. Dele Alli has it again, and Dele Alli strikes. Good save again. Well, the Englishman is really starting to feel comfortable here in an Everton shirt this season, and long may it continue as it's thrown in the box, and Tarkowski this time is the man who gets his head on it, and it's another Englishman who will give us a 1-0 lead inside the opening 15 minutes. Well, it was a brilliant ball in from Bakayoko, and he just found the head of Tarkowski, who got ahead of the defender, and he just nodded it down into the bottom right-hand corner to give the goalkeeper no chance. He tried to make his third save of the game, but it wasn't meant to be, and it's a deserved 1-0 lead here for Everton, here at the London Stadium. James Ward-Prowse into Lucas Paquetá now. Surely he's going to try and look for the left-hand side. He does. He looks for Maxence Cornet, but he can't go past Willems. James Ward-Prowse is going to take the free kick. That is not a man who you want in this sort of position. It's thrown in, and Souček got his head on it. Eventually, it's just bundled away by Hatto, and it's Willems who gets on the end of it. Brilliant stuff, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin does a really good job of winning that ball high up, and then does that, and goes and gives it away really cheaply. James Ward-Prowse into Cornet. Cornet into Danny Ings. Willems came across to try and cover. Did a decent enough job. Ings still has it though. Into Paquetá, who strikes. Good save from Pickford. It's a corner kick, and once again it is going to be the danger man, James Ward-Prowse, to throw it into the box. Into Souček. It's headed down though, and Pickford makes it look easy in the end. Danjuma into the feet of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Lovely little play into Bakayoko. He tried to play it in to James Garner. It was almost, he was inches away there from surely setting up for what would have been a goal there. But now West Ham can try and break away. Willems, though, with a good challenge on Danny Ings. And now Cornet has it. Garner is going to try and see if he can put a challenge in, but it's a midfield splitting pass. And now Souček plays it out to the danger man, Kudos. But Hatto, another youngster, comes across. The youngsters, this team, and the Everton team this season, are really showing their worth here, as Danjuma now is going to try and release Hatto down this left-hand side. Brilliant play. What a fantastic piece of attacking play here down this left-hand side as Hatto cuts it back in for Danjuma. Dele Alli has it. He just gets bundled out of it in the end, and West Ham can clear their lines. Cornet over to the right-hand side to Emerson. Onana came across to try and give Willems a little bit of cover, and he did a really good job of doing so. And now Bakayoko can try and drive down this right-hand side. Dominic Calvert-Lewin got a little bit caught up there, and Paquetá now can bring it away for West Ham. End-to-end stuff here at the London Stadium in the opening 45 minutes, but we've got to try and see if we can keep the ship tight, and hopefully we won't concede just before half-time, as Cornet now is going to try and go one-on-one with Willems. And oh my word, he almost gave away a penalty there, showing a little bit of naivety, but Tarkowski, with some good leadership and some good defending to clear it away, he manages to get it away again, and he will just hack it clear as the referee blows for half-time. James Ward-Prowse for West Ham. Lovely ball, but Willems came across and he read it brilliantly. That is maturity beyond his years, and now Dele Alli has it and plays a wonderful ball out to Danjuma on the left-hand side. He's going to try and cut back in. I was looking for the run of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It was good defending in the end though from West Ham. Foul into Danny Ings. Nice little 1-2 between the two of them, and Branthwaite's going to try and come across to put a challenge in. Doesn't do a good enough job, and Kudos now plays it into Danny Ings. Danny Ings, though, has been chased down by Tarkowski. Brilliant defending yet again from the Englishman. Now Dominic Calvert-Lewin has it to try and see if he can break away here. I'm going to try and lift this one over to Bakayoko. Didn't manage to, though, but instead will try and play it down this right-hand side. Bakayoko does manage to get on the end of it. Shifts it onto his left. Continues his run, trying to make space here to try and tee up a shot. Couldn't in the end though, but it does fall kindly to Onana. Back out to Hatto on the left-hand side. He's going to throw it across. It's an Everton corner. It's Bakayoko who's going to take this corner, and he's going to try and look to see if he can replicate a brilliant corner that he did in the first half as it falls to the substitute Decore. It's bundled around. Eventually it's hacked clear by West Ham. But of course it is that man yet again, Williams, who wins it again. He's had a really, really good debut here. He has just not been phased one bit, and he's been absolutely sensational. Now Harrison on as a substitute. Finds another substitute in Mikalenko. Decore, who's going to play it out wide to Willems again. Willems, though, plays it back to Garner. This ball and this attack is very much still alive. Decore, though, goes and gives it away. Just as I say that, we go and do something silly and lose the momentum. Souček into James Ward-Prowse. We're heading into the final 10 minutes here. We've got to try and see if we can hold on as Paquetá gives it back to James Ward-Prowse, who strikes, blazes it over. And with 82 minutes on the clock, it is time for the debutant Brian Willems to leave the field to be replaced by Nathan Patterson. What an incredible debut for the young Belgian. Into Mavropanis. We've got less than 5 minutes plus stoppage time here on the clock for West Ham to try and find a route back into this game. At the moment, we are holding firm and looking hopefully likely to keep hold of this clean sheet as Kudos strikes. It's a tame one, but in the end, Jordan Pickford had to be on the end of it, and he did, and it's forced out for a West Ham corner. And as we are deep into stoppage time, the goalkeeper is up in the penalty area. West Ham throwing the kitchen sink at this one. It's thrown in. Mikalenko with the header away, only out as far as James Ward-Prowse, who throws it back in. This time it's Patterson on as a substitute to head it clear. Paquetá down, and the referee blows for full time. Well, it was a hard-fought game here at the London Stadium, and a hard-fought victory. The players are absolutely delighted, though. It's another 1-0, and it's another clean sheet. That man Tarkowski's goal in the early moments of this game game was enough to seal the victory and to seal the 3 points, as at full time it finishes West Ham 0, Everton 1. And not only was it Tarkowski's first goal of the season, but it was also a goal that lifts us above our arch rivals Liverpool into third place in the Premier League table, just 1 point behind Nottingham Forest of all teams in second place, as we look to try and see if we can cement our spot in the Champions League places this season. The plaudits though must go to this young man, Brian Williams. On his debut, he looked totally unfazed. He racked up a brilliant performance. He was a serious contributor to that clean sheet. He showed awareness and maturity beyond his years, and I spoke at the beginning of the episode about potentially uncovering the very next Wayne Rooney. But with Seamus Coleman, the Everton legend, retiring at the end of the season, perhaps I was misplaced, and perhaps it is the future Seamus Coleman and Brian Williams that we may have just uncovered. But unfortunately, our positive momentum is brought to a crashing halt as we can only succumb to a 1-1 draw at home to Brighton, and another 1-1 draw, this time away from home against Crystal Palace. And with James Garner getting sent off in the 32nd minute, Manchester United bring our unbeaten run to a crashing halt as they beat us 3-0 at home. And Nottingham Forest pile on the misery as a 2-1 loss away from home means another 3 points dropped. And frustratingly, it's our third back-to-back loss, this time at home, but it's 2-1 against Newcastle United. And that terrible run of form that's seen us pick up 2 points in 5 games has seen us drop all the way down to the bottom half of the table to 11th place. What on earth is going on at Everton Football Club? The goals seem to have dried up for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, with him scoring just 1 goal this episode and just 5 in 14 Premier League appearances. And as for Beto, again, he is yet to score this episode with only 2 in 6 Premier League appearances. And so with squad morale starting to slip and a huge game up next at Goodison Park against Chelsea, I have decided to take matters into my own hands and take control of this club's destiny and try and see in front of our own fans if I can play the game and try and bring a much needed 3 points back to Goodison Park this episode. Due to a little bit of fatigue creeping into the squad, I have made a few enforced changes. Pickford does keep his place in goal, but Willems comes back in place of Nathan Patterson at right back. Godfrey comes in for Tarkowski. Branthwaite and Mikalenko make up the rest of the defence. Onana is partnered by James Garner in midfield, with Dele Alli playing in the hole behind the striker. McNeil starts on the left, Bakayoko starts on the right, and Beto comes in place of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who drops to the bench. Well, here we go then. We are on a run of really bad form. We've got to try and do something to arrest this terrible position that we find ourselves in and try and see if we can perform a miracle this season and get back into the Champions League places. Mikalenko, oh, he's been chased down by Gusto. Relentless piece of Chelsea pressure there, but we managed to wriggle away from it. Just as I say that, we go and give the ball away to Cole Palmer. Into Nicholas Jackson here as Chelsea look to start this game off on fire. Out to Gusto on the right hand side. Mikalenko frantically trying to chase back to defend. Doesn't do a good enough job though. Cole Palmer now has it. Back to Gusto. Lovely little one-touch play here from Chelsea, but Onana comes across with a crunching challenge, but doesn't do enough to win it back. Cristante into Jackson, into Nkunku. Nkunku shaping up to strike, plays it in to Cole Palmer. It's a lovely little decoy pass into the path of the Englishman, and with just 10 minutes on the clock, he gives Chelsea the lead. Look at the celebrations with Mauricio Pochettino. Chelsea have started this game on fire. Well, it was all coming down that left-hand side, but it was a lovely piece of play. Nkunku, I thought was about to shape up to strike, but instead, a little deft touch through the legs of my defenders left it into the path of Cole Palmer, who had nothing else left to do but to smash it into the back of the net. Much to my frustration, Chelsea lead 1-0. Well, we've got to make sure that our heads do not drop here, as Chelsea look like they really are in the ascendancy, and they've really got their tails up here as they try and go in search of a second goal. Nice little ball into Jackson. It has been all the London clubs so far in this game. Jackson now has it in a really dangerous position. Godfrey, though, wins it back well, and he can now try and see if he can bring this one out of defence with a lovely decoy. And now the centre-back is driving down the left-hand side. Oh, he tries to cut it in field, looking for Beto, and that was the forward pass of a centre-back for sure. Cristante, though, into Nicholas Jackson. Chelsea going to try and see if they can hit us on the counter-attack. Nkunku out to Gusto on the right-hand side, plays it in field for Nkunku again. Godfrey, though, this time doing a brilliant job, showing great stamina to track back. Ends up losing it, though. We can't seem to get out of our own half here. Into Nicholas Jackson, into the box. He strikes, good save. Looks like it's going to be Raheem Sterling with the short throw. He does make it short, and now it's Cole Palmer into Caicedo. Caicedo in the box. He finds Nkunku on the edge. He's going to try and look for the right pass. Does find Cole Palmer. It's deflected away by Branthwaite and headed clear by Godfrey. McNeil to try and bring this one out of defence and down the left-hand side. Plays it into Beto, who's going to try and hold the line up, but he doesn't do a very good job of it. Can Garner get there? Yes, he can. He finds Dele Alli. Dele Alli to release Bakayoko down the right-hand side. Bakayoko has the pace to go one-on-one with Cucurella here. Instead, he checks back inside on his left. He's looking for some sort of option here. Finds Onana. Onana has space and time to line up a shot, but hits it straight at Sanchez. Mikalenko Down the left-hand side into Dwight McNeil. This is much better here from Everton. And now Onana, the central defensive midfielder, strikes. And he strikes us into an equaliser here as it's 1-1 here at Goodison Park. Well, the fans go absolutely wild. And you've got to say, it is very much against the run of play. But Onana, the central defensive midfielder, found himself the most advanced. And he drove into the box. And he made no mistake on his left foot. A fabulous finish and a fabulous way to get us back on level terms here at Goodison Park. It's 1-1. Caicedo at the start of the second half here for Chelsea. They're going to try and see if they can start the second half exactly as they started the first, but it was a good piece of defending there from Bakayoko to win it. Williams, though, played it back into him, and now Garner has it. This is lovely play here down this right-hand flank, and Bakayoko now has the pace and the energy to drive down it. He tries to flip a ball into the box, and in the end, it's a really poor one, and Sanchez is equal to it. Mikalenko. Nice little touch into McNeil. This has been a really, really positive response here for Everton. Dele Alli now has it and he tries to bring it past Fofana. Really nicely done. He's going to play it infield. Looks for Dwight McNeil. Finds him. He strikes straight at Onana again. And that is another big opportunity for Everton Football Club. Raheem Sterling. Oh, he just knocks it past Willems. He's got the pace and the experience to go past the young Belgium. Really good play here. But Godfrey comes across somehow. And it's a brilliant challenge. And it goes out for a Chelsea corner though. Down the line into Bakayoko. Bakayoko doesn't really have too many options. Switches it onto his left. I'm going to try and see if I can find a ball all the way out to Dwight McNeil. What a sensational ball that was, and a sensational take by Dwight McNeil into the path of Dele Alli, who strikes straight at Chalalaba. Can Beto get on the end of it? No, he can't. It will be, though, Onana who will be able to get on the end of it, and it's now James Garner down this right-hand side. Can he try and go past Cucurella? Yes, he does. I'm going to try and fling this one into the box, to the back post. Gusto, though, was equal to it. Caicedo out to Raheem Sterling. My word, this is an end-to-end half here. Much more exciting than the first as Branthwaite comes across to block off Christopher Nkunku. Really nicely done. And now Dele Alli can spread the play over to the right-hand side to Bakayoko. We are finding lots of space here in the second half. Bakayoko switches it onto his left. Fires it straight at Sanchez. That man has had to make several saves so far in this half to keep Chelsea in the game. Into Pereiro down the right-hand side. He's going to try and see if he can go past Mikalenko. He does. And now Gusto has it. He's going to try and see if he can go past Ben Godfrey. He can't. That man has been really, really impressive here in place of Tarkowski in the centre of my defence. Gallagher's going to take the throw into Pereiro. Pereira's surely going to try and look to play the 1-2 back to him, but instead holds on to the ball and eventually does give it back to the Englishman. He tries to go past Mikalenko, instead plays it in to Christopher Nkunku. Lovely little pass into Pereiro. They've got space here, and it's in just wide, though, from Nicholas Jackson. Mikalenko. We are into the dying few minutes here at Goodison Park. It's 1-1 here. We've got to try and see if we cannot get the victory to at least hold on to 1 point here as Willems plays it into the path of Bakayoko. Bakayoko now back to Ben Godfrey. He goes to Branthwaite. This is a really nice play at the back here from Everton. Mikalenko now. He's going to try and go inside here. Can he try and go past Conor Gallagher? No, he can't. Instead switches it back to Dwight McNeil. And look at the young man. He now has space to run into here. Drives into the penalty area. I was looking for a cutback here. I do manage a cutback into the path of James Garner. But it's well blocked off again by the Chelsea defence as the referee blows for full time. Well, you have to say, out of the two teams, we were certainly the better of the two in the second half. And it can be argued that we deserved to get more out of the game than we did. In the end, though, we have to settle for a point as it ends here. Everton 1, Chelsea 1. And whilst it is positive news for the young Belgian Onana as he manages to grab his first goal of the season, it's another draw and another 2 points dropped and another place in the Premier League dropped as we are now down to 12th place, sandwiched between Arsenal and Manchester United. What a topsy-turvy season we are having so far. Spurs, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool and Manchester City making up the Champions League spots. How on earth are Nottingham Forest up there? 16 games played. What a season they're having. As for us, though, as we head deep into the Christmas period and just 4 games away from the start of the January transfer window, we are going to get stuck into our third and final game of this episode against a team in Burnley who are fighting relegation and a team we will be expected to get 3 points from. It's a massive game and one that we desperately need to get back into the win column from. And a massive game means a massive return to my best starting 11. Pickford starts in goal. Patterson returns to the starting 11 with Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Mikalenko making up the back line. Onana and Garner start in midfield. Ali, Bakayoko and Danjuma are the attacking players behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Over to Bakayoko on the right-hand side. He's already being pressured, though, by IN. Really nicely done there from the Burnley man. Trees, though, down the left-hand side. And the Midlands club already look like they are in the ascendancy here as we try and see if we can desperately hold on to making sure we don't give away an early goal here. But we have given away a very early corner, and Manuel now will be the man to try and fling this one into the box as no one is offering a short one. It's headed in, and it's headed just over the bar. Mikalenko now to try and bring this one out of defence. He doesn't really have too many options, and he's blocked off again again by Manuel, but Danjuma manages to come across and win that one well. Mikolenko now goes centrally, and he finds James Garner, who takes it really nicely. He's going to continue his run right over to the right-hand side into the path of Bakayoko with a lovely touch and turn to get away from the defender. And Bakayoko now drives into the box. What options does he have? Absolutely none. And it's a really poor attack in the end. Brownhill for Burnley. Into Rodriguez. Branthwaite tried to come across to put the challenge in. Didn't do a good enough job though. Treezor now into Manuel again. He's got space to try and put a challenge in. But in the end, it's Tarkowski who puts the challenge in. And now we get the ball away with Dele Alli, but he doesn't get it away very far. Garner, though, eventually does manage to rescue it. And now he can release Bakayoko down this right-hand side. And the young man has space to run into here, but he checks back onto his left. He's looking for some sort of option. Gives it back to James Garner in the end, though. He's going to go right the way across to the left-hand side. Danjuma now has it. Has the momentum. Just gone out of this attack a little bit. But Mikolenko is found on the left-hand side. Cuts it back in, looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's hacked away, though. Patterson into James Garner, into Onana. Lovely little one-touch into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who takes it round the defender and plays a wonderful ball into Dele Alli. Just can't get there ahead of the goalkeeper. Into Cullen, back to Oliver Skipp, who presumably is now plying his trade on a permanent basis for Burnley. And then has a lovely ball over from the young Englishman, into Manuel. Mikolenko came across, though, and it's a Burnley corner. Bakayoko to try and bring this one out of defence here. Doesn't really have many options in the end. He's crowded out, and Brownhill wins it back. Burnley really taking the game to us here in front of their home fans. End-to-end stuff here at Turf Moor. And that is a brilliant challenge, though, as Danjuma can try and bring the ball away. But instead, a free kick is given, and Treezor will be the man to take this one. Surely he's going to try and fling this one into the box. With assistance from Brownhill, though. He goes for the dummy, flings it over, and blazes it over the bar. Into Dele Alli, who's come short into Onana. Really nicely done, and Onana now feeds it into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin drives to the edge of the box and strikes. Big save. It's a corner here for Everton that Danjuma is going to be the man to take, and he's going to try and play this one into the box over Tarkowski with a head, and Tarkowski again is the man who rises highest with an absolute bullet header, his second bullet header of the game, to give us a 1-0 lead here at Turf Moor. Well, I tell you what, when your attacking players are not performing to the highest level, you need the other players in your team to step up, and it has been the current captain Tarkowski to be the man to do just that, his second big header of the game, and it's our first goal of this game as we lead 1-0. Brownhill for Burnley. Lovely little challenge from Bakayoko. Onana, though, gets caught in possession, and now Burnley can try and bring this one forward with Treezor. It's well intercepted and blocked, though, as Dele Alli now can try and bring this one down the left-hand side. He doesn't really have too many options, so he's going to have to go it alone all the way to the byline, does the Englishman. He's done a really good job of holding that ball up, and now Onana can try and play it forward into the feet of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who looks for the ball into Bakayoko. He's onside, cuts it back in for Dele Alli, and that is a beautiful Everton team goal, and it is Dele Alli, the man who started it all, is the man to finish it off, and he did it with absolute aplomb. Lovely ball in from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It was the cutback from Bakayoko, and a beautiful left-footed finish from that man Dele Alli as he continues his career revival here at Everton. It's 2-0 into Roberts for Burnley. He's going to try and go down the right side, goes past Onana, and that's a lovely ball into Brownhill. But Tarkowski is the man in the way, the goal scorer and defensive extraordinaire at the back. He's been absolutely brilliant for me so far this season. Back to Tarkowski. Tarkowski to try and bring this one out of defence, but he is being pressured heavily, but manages to find a ball to Bakayoko. Bakayoko finds James Garner. A lovely little one-touch ball into Patterson down the right-hand side. Can he try and find the right ball in? Cuts it back into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's going to lay it off to Dele Alli on his right. Big save from the goalkeeper. Tarkowski over to an unmarked Danjuma on the left-hand side. It's been all Everton here so far in this second half as Onana now finds a wonderful piece of play into Danjuma. Surely Danjuma's going to drive into the box. He does. He looks for the cut back into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He tries to turn on his favoured right foot and strikes. It's a low and hard strike, but it's another big save from the Burnley goalkeeper. Brownhill. Lovely little ball over into Treezor on the left-hand side. Heads it down, though, to Delacroix. And now Treezor gets it back. And Treezor now is going to try and burst down this left-hand side and plays a wonderful ball into IN. He tries to shift it onto his right. Dummies. Brilliant challenge in the end, though, once again by that man, Tarkowski. Cullen for Burnley. Into Larson. Willems on as a substitute with a brilliant crunching challenge, and that is exactly what I would want from the young Belgian. Garner now has it. Surely I'm going to try and play this one into Bakayoko. Lovely stuff here. Look at this. We are 3-on-2. Can Bakayoko find a ball into Beto? On as a sub. Another big save from the Burnley goalkeeper, and it's cleared away on the line. We are knocking at the door here, trying to find the third goal to well and truly put this game to bed, but we are yet to find it. But Bakayoko's going to try and see if he can put an end to that, but eventually he is blocked off. But Willems with a lovely piece of defending to win the ball back. Plays it into Beto. What a save! This Burnley goalkeeper deserves a knighthood for his performance here today as the referee blows for full time. Well, that is that. I shake the hand of Vincent Kompany. Look at the smile on my face. I'm absolutely delighted to get back in the win column. A huge performance from all my players, but an especially huge performance in the second half. As 2 goals, one from Dele Alli and one from Tarkowski, is enough to give us a 2-0 win at full time. And it's amazing what one victory can do, as it has lifted us up 5 spots into 7th place now in the Premier League. And we are now still only about 5 points away from the Champions League spot and from Europe. Can we try and continue this positive momentum? But if you want to find out, you're going to have to wait until the very next episode, because that is it for today's episode. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Last episode we uncovered the next Seamus Coleman, but a rollercoaster of performances saw us drop out of the Champions League spots to mid-table before climbing back into the top half. And today, with the January transfer window soon to be open, things are about to get very interesting at Everton Football Club. And as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, it all seemed to start so well. This man Brian Williams got the promotion up to the senior squad, and at 17 years of age and having made 3 Premier League appearances, he already looks like someone who could be a potential world-class superstar on the right-hand side of my defence. But it was up the other end of the field where things started to really unravel. Dominic Calvert-Lewin not really finding his shooting boots, really struggling to get on the score sheet last episode, and his Portuguese competitor Beto likewise wasn't even able to get 1 goal the entire episode. And added to that, when you've got your 31-year-old centre-back in James Tarkowski, your 3rd highest goal scorer with just 3 goals to his name, you know you do have a potential problem up front. However, with me making the commitment at the very start of this career mode that I was going to do everything I could to try and revive the career of Dele Alli, I'm kind of reluctant to make any drastic changes to my formation so far this season. So instead, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and move both of my wide players into more advanced positions on either side of midfield. I'm going to change their roles to wingers instead of midfielders, and I'm going to hopefully see whether or not that makes any major impact. I'm also going to look to see if I can set up some additional roles for some individual players on my team, starting with Dele Alli. I don't want balanced crossing runs. I want him getting in the box for every single opportunity, and I want him to have the freedom to be able to roam around the pitch whenever he sees fit. Plus, based on the fact that we've got my tactical vision set up as wing play, I really don't think that we're getting enough players in the box, considering the amount of width we've got. So I'm going to shunt this one up a little bit further, right the way up to the top, and hopefully we can pile in as many players as we possibly can and try and take advantage of some of the crosses that we're putting in for this man Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And we're going to see straight away if any of these tactical tweaks can make an immediate impact as we head over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to face off against the high-flying Tottenham Hotspur. And speaking of impact, Dele Alli is going to have his first opportunity to return to the club where he made his name, as he starts, of course, behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. As for the rest of the team, only one major change, and that is Williams coming in at right back in place of Patterson, who drops to the bench. Apart from that, it's pretty much my strongest starting 11, as we hope to get back to winning ways and get the 3 points. So here we go then, a very big day and a very big occasion for that man Dele Alli. He will be hoping against his former club to try and put in a monumental performance and try and see if he can get the goals today that is going to hopefully give us the 3 points, as Onana puts us in a good position for Dan Juma to drive down this left-hand side. Can we try and pile the bodies in the box? It's across to Dele Alli at the back post. He just couldn't get his head on it. Williams will get another opportunity to throw it in. This time it's Vicario who throws himself at the ball, and he saves it well early doors. Maddison for Spurs. Into Benton Core, across to Kulusevski, who's playing on that right-hand side, and he manages just to knock it past my left back. Now it's into Iglesias, though, who's got Tarkowski for company, but Iglesias manages to get round him, and Maddison strikes, and Maddison puts Spurs into an early 1-0 lead. Well, he goes over and he celebrates in front of the Spurs fans, who have got absolutely wild there in the corner. Beautiful build-up play from Spurs. They just tore my defence to pieces, and Maddison unmarked. When you give him that much time and space, he will make you pay, and Spurs lead here 1-0. Well, a bit of a disappointing start here in the opening 12 minutes. Not what I had on the agenda. We've got to try and see if we can keep our heads up and make sure we respond positively, as Dan Juma now has the opportunity to try and thread a wonderful ball through into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He won't have the beating of pace of Van der Ven. Instead, he struck from distance, and Vicario was equal to it. Mikalenko into that man Dele Alli, eagerly looking to see if he can spark some life and creativity into this team. But Chris Smalling, now returning back to the Premier League for Spurs, wins the ball back well. Now Bentancur releases it into Kulusevski. They play advantage as Spurs retain possession here. Bentancur looking for his options, instead finds Carvajal, the former Real Madrid man, on the right hand side. He plays a lovely ball through to Maddison, who plays it across. Willems there, though, is in the right place at the right time to clear the ball away. Bentancur into Devise. Davies now into the box, straight at Pickford. It's cleared away by Tarkowski. Heung-min Son into Basuma. Maddison, of course, the danger man has it. That's a lovely ball into Iglesias, who strikes, and he just puts it wide. It's going to be a throw here that Ben Davies is going to take short to Maddison in the opening half an hour here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It has been all the home team as they go and double their advantage here. Iglesias just on the edge of the 6-yard box gave Pickford absolutely no chance, and Spurs are giving my defence no chance here. They're tearing us to shreds. Well, again, it was another piece of great build-up play from Spurs. Lovely little flick from Basuma, and he just got in between my two centre-backs. It was a lovely left-footed finish past Pickford, who had no chance from that distance. Spurs lead 2-0. Mikalenko on the left-hand side, unmarked, goes infield looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's come short to try and see if he can get himself involved in this game, as he's been pretty quiet so far, but that is why you do not want him dropping into midfield, as he gives the ball away in a really dangerous area. Fortunately enough, Mikalenko comes across. They almost made us pay again there, and we give it away in a really cheap and dangerous position again. This time it's Willems in the right place at the right time. Seriously, this man, for the fact that he's only 17 years of age, is really showing maturity beyond his years, and he's released Bakayoko now, who can try and drive into space here, and he finds a lovely ball into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's through on goal here. Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets us back in the game. A brilliant, incisive counter-attack, and it all started from a fabulous interception from the 17-year-old. Bakayoko, though, was the man who dribbled through two Spurs players and laid it on a plate for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Spurs playing that high line, we were able to take advantage, and the Englishman gives us a lifeline back into this game. It's 2-1. Well, a big 45 minutes played and another big 45 minutes to come. We managed to resurrect what looked like a pretty dire position we found ourselves in the opening 30 minutes here. But it is all to play for in the next 45, as we're going to try and see if we can level the scores here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, as Bakayoko brings the ball forward and then gets challenged easily by Basuma. Bakayoko just dances his way round Ben Davies down the left-hand side, and he's got the pace to get away from the Welshman, and now he drives into the box looking for the cutback here into James Garner, who switches it onto his left and strikes. What a strike it was, and what a save from Vicario. We keep it alive with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who frustratingly for us was offside. Heung-min Son, who's been relatively quiet, uncharacteristically quiet for Spurs here today, but they haven't needed him so far. They've scored 2 goals without him, but I'm sure he will be looking to try and get himself on the score sheet before this day is done, as Kulusevski plays a lovely ball into Bentancur. Lovely challenge though for Tarkowski, and Iglesias with an absolutely huge challenge. Somehow though, Tarkowski manages to bring that one out of defence, and now Dele Alli can play a lovely ball into Onana, and now Dominic Calvert-Lewin is through here. Dominic Calvert-Lewin all on his own into the box, slows it down, and in the end picks his spot, and he levels the scores here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's his second, it's our second, it's 2-2. Well, it all started with a lovely piece of defending at the back from Tarkowski. Dele Alli found himself in space. He laid a lovely ball into Onana, who played a beautiful one-touch pass into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and again that high line from Spurs costing them once again. Dominic Calvert-Lewin took advantage. It's 2-2. Well, this game is absolutely anyone's to win. 2-2, 20 minutes remaining on the clock, and either team look like they're going to score every single time they go forward here, and now it's Spurs' turn to try and strike at my goal, but this time Onana is in the right place at the right time and just about gets the ball clear. Basuma being chased down by Dele Alli, who of course will be eager to try and put in a good performance against his former employers. Basuma though has it, and again with a nice little flick pass. That is beautiful from Spurs. Maddison though straight at Jordan Pickford, and it's cleared away, not very far though. Willems making an uncharacteristic mistake there, and unfortunately though Dele Alli came across. He was pressuring and defending well, but Spurs keep the attack alive. Davies has it on the left hand side. Is he going to look for a man in the box? Finds Heung-min Son, who on the edge gives it to Bentancur. Is he going to line up a shot? Kulusevski has it. Tarkowski of course comes across, and he puts in another block. Brilliant defending. That man has been an absolute rock for us at the back so far this season. But look at this from Danjuma. Where on earth are the Spurs players? That high line again is causing them absolute problem after problem. Into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Van der Ven is there just in the nick of time. Well, we've got a corner here that Dwight McNeil on as a substitute is about to take. Only about 5 minutes remaining on the clock. Can we try and see if we can get a winner? It's headed over though by Decore. Better now. Another substitute on the field. Wins the ball back high and gives it to Patterson. He turns around the corner, gives it to James Garner. If either team is going to score here, it is going to be Everton. Garner throws it into the box, looking for McNeil at the back post. It's headed away. Onana will win the header. It's only out as far as Pedro Porro as the referee blows for full time. Well, my word, what an end-to-end finish here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I thought the game was lost when we went 2-0 down, but we showed resiliency. We showed fantastic character, and we showed a brilliant performance, especially in the back end of the first half and the second, to draw level here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. As it finishes here, Spurs 2, Everton 2. Well, clearly those tactical tweaks are working wonders for this man Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as it's the first time this season he scored more than one goal in a game. However, just when I was looking at my team, thinking about where I could possibly improve looking ahead to the January transfer window, I get a note in my inbox from the chief executive of the club reminding me that Dele Alli only has about 6 months left on his contract. Now, the 27-year-old Englishman has featured for me 15 times so far in the Premier League, contributing 3 goals and 3 assists. It's not exactly a groundbreaking performance, but considering I did make the pledge at the beginning of this career mode that I was going to do everything I could to try and revive the career of this man Dele Alli, I have made the executive decision that it does seem fitting that I will decide to offer the Englishman another contract extension at the club. Now, in terms of his extension, I'm not sure he warrants anything over 2 years, so I actually only think I'm going to offer him a 1-year extension for now. However, for him, he's looking for 3 years to take him up to 30 years of age. Now, I've got to be honest, as I just said, I'm not quite sure that he is really worth, based on his performances, adding another 3 years to his contract. However, he clearly thinks that he's not going to be able to get another contract elsewhere, so clearly he wants some extra dough here at Everton Football Club. However, with me thinking long term and thinking potentially I might be able to get some sort of transfer fee for him if he doesn't exactly pan out this season, I am willing to extend his contract for 3 years, keep him at Everton Football Club for the foreseeable future, and hopefully continue the career revival of the former wonder kid Dele Alli. However, as we continue to progress through the Christmas period, we unfortunately find ourselves on the wrong end of an absolute hiding at home against Manchester City as they beat us 4-2. We do, however, manage to get back to winning ways, with Dele Alli thanking my confidence in him by getting a late goal in the 88th minute to secure a much needed 3 points as we beat Wolves away from home 2-1. However, with our inconsistent form continuing, we've slumped all the way down now to bang in the mid-table, 10th place in the Premier League after 20 games played with just 30 points to our name. And judging by the fact that we only now have 2 players in the starting 11 who have hit the 80 rated mark, it's not exactly a surprise to understand where we find ourselves at this point in the season. However, with the January transfer window now officially open, I was hoping to see what I could do to try and make some improvements to this team. However, with only £9 million left in the transfer budget, I really have no idea what I'm actually going to be able to do. And to add even more misery onto my woes, Leeds United have decided to recall their on-loan winger Jack Harrison due to a supposed lack of game time. However, as you can see from my shortlist, this has left me in a real pickle because all of the players that I've got, yes, they are attacking players, and yes, they could potentially fill in both up front and also on the left and right hand side of my midfield. Every single player is pretty much well and truly well above my transfer budget, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to be able to do, and I certainly don't think I'm going to be able to bring any of them in on a more permanent basis this January. So instead, I think I'm going to have to try and be a little bit creative and try and see if I can do something a little bit different to what I normally do on these career modes. Now, my first thought was to try and see if I could do something with Emile Smith-Rowe. He finds himself out of the picture so far this season with Arsenal, and I was hoping that I might be able to use that to my advantage to try and see if I could approach him on loan. However, Arsenal are not interested whatsoever, which completely rules him out this January. However, fortunately enough for me, there is another young man in the Premier League who seemingly has failed to make the grade at his parent club so far since his arrival, and he is someone who actually is interested in joining Everton Football Club this January on loan. That is right, the Ukrainian Mudryk will join from Chelsea on a short-term loan deal to try and fill in a gap on the left-hand side of my midfield this season in what can only be described as a fairly decent coup for Everton Football Club. Now, granted, he hasn't exactly set the world alight for Chelsea in real life in the Premier League. However, on this career mode, with him having incredibly high pace, high attacking work rate and some pretty decent 4-star skill moves and weak foot, plus fairly decent attributes right across the board and offering us technical, flair and quick step ability, he won't make my starting 11 ahead of Danjuma on the left-hand side, but he is someone who offers us another option on the bench should I want to turn to someone in the last half an hour of a game. And that is exactly what I'm going to try and see if he can do for me as we head over to Old Trafford in our very next game as we face off against Manchester United in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. There are only 2 major changes to my usual starting 11 ahead of the game today, and one of them being Willems coming in at right back ahead of Patterson, who drops to the bench, and the other teenager in Hato comes in on the left-hand side of defence as he replaces Mikolenko, who also drops to the bench. But all eyes will be on this man Mudryk to see what he can do as he hopes to come onto the field, perhaps in the latter end of the second half, to try and see if he can make an immediate impact in an Everton shirt. But here we go then, this is a big game, and to be honest, this is our one and only opportunity this season to try and win silverware. It's very unlikely, and I'm sure Everton will not be one of the favourites for this competition. However, Could this well be the first opportunity for Everton to win a major piece of silverware since 1995? Branthwaite has a lovely ball all the way over to Willems, who is completely unmarked on that right-hand side, and he will now try and bring the ball forward. It's a lovely pass into Garner, and a lovely little one-touch into Bakayoko, who's just straight offside. Luke Shaw for Manchester United to try and bring this one out of defence. He's been chased down there by Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but he's done a good job of knocking it into the path of Rashford, and he gets it back from him, goes inside, but Branthwaite reads that well, and then goes and gives it away really cheaply. It's a really poor ball, though, and again, it's really poor defending, and Manchester United almost take advantage, but it's a really poor shot, and that is pretty much the story of the opening 15 minutes here at Old Trafford. Danjuma on the left-hand side of midfield plays a short pass into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's going to surely now try and look for a ball over the top into Bakayoko down this right-hand side. Lovely take, though, from the Belgium, and he tries to drive onto his left foot here, and he continues his run unopposed here. No one putting in a challenge, and he strikes, and he just puts it wide. Luke Shaw for United, again down this left-hand flank, combining with Rashford once again, but this time it's Garner who comes across really well to win the ball back, and now he releases Bakayoko. Manchester United completely open now in the absence of Shaw down that left-hand side. It's blocked off, though, by Bruno Fernandes. Everton have a corner, and Danjuma will be the man to take it. He's going to try and float this one into the penalty spot, looking for the head of Branthwaite. He does manage to get to the head of Branthwaite. This time it's Onana, though, who heads it down, and it's cleared away off the line by Luke Shaw. And it's been a really positive start so far for Everton. We've had a decent opportunity, but unfortunately we couldn't quite take advantage, as it's Manchester United now will be the team to look to take advantage of our slack defending, as Rashford strikes it straight at Pickford. And now it goes off for Manchester United's first corner of the game. 31 minutes here, and they take it short. Neither team able to break the deadlock. Garner, though, wins it back, loses it just as quickly to Anthony. Bruno Fernandes across into Shatire. He's looking for options, finds Anthony again. He finds Marcus Rashford, who is lining up a shot, who does line up a shot, and Pickford's equal to it. Second corner of the game, though, for Manchester United. They're now starting to turn up their heat here as Anthony drives into the box again, looks for Rashford. It's cleared away, though. Dele Alli into the path of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He tried to make it into, I think it was Onana, but couldn't quite reach him. And now Shatire has an opportunity to try and strike back into Dallo, who strikes Tarkowski again, though. The man, the myth, the mountain, the legend comes across once again to put in a wonderful challenge, but Onana can't put one in on Shatire. Bruno Fernandes into Rashford. We are living life on the edge here. It's cleared away, though. Hato not very far, and in the end it goes wide from Rashford into Dele Alli at the beginning of this second half. I'm going to try and see if I can float a ball over the top of the defence into the path of James Garner. What a ball from the Englishman, and James Garner has an option of Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the box, and he makes a bit of a hash of that one and strikes it straight at Onana. It's easy in the end for the goalkeeper. Marcus Rashford down this left-hand side tries to go past Tarkowski. Good covering, though, from the Englishman. Now it's enough for Willems to get back, and he puts in a crunching challenge once again, does the Belgian. Into Bruno Fernandes. He turns nicely into Amrabat on as a substitute. Mason Mount tried to get away from Onana, couldn't, and Onana now can try and release Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He doesn't really have any options, so he's got to try and see if he can hold the ball up, and that is a great ball into Dele Alli, who just can't get there ahead of the defender. Manchester United have the free kick. They float this one into the edge of the box. It's headed away by Branthwaite as far as Bakayoko. Nice little volley into the path of Danjuma, and Danjuma can release a lovely ball into the path of Dele Alli, and Dele Alli now will stretch his legs. Has he got the pace to get away from the defenders? Dele Alli with his left. What a save! Oh my word, he should have scored. Well, chances don't really get much bigger than that for Dele Alli. It was handed to him on a plate. All he had to do was keep his composure and try and just put it into the bottom right or left-hand corner. He got it all wrong, and Onana was there to make the save, and that is a huge opportunity wasted for Everton Football Club. But the time has come, though, with just over 20 minutes remaining on the clock. Danjuma goes off. Mudryk comes on to make his Everton debut, and hopefully to try and see if he can spark some life into what has been, so far, a very lacklustre Everton attack. Martial into Dallo. Dallo back down the line into Martial. Another Manchester United substitute here as he tries to see if he can come across, but it's well defended in the end from Branthwaite into Onana. Beto, he's got Mudryk up ahead of him. Can he find Mudryk? Ah, he's just straight offside. Bruno Fernandes out wide to Dallo on the left-hand side. Hato came across to try and challenge him. Didn't do a good enough job. Bruno Fernandes now into Marcus Rashford. Lovely pass into Amrabat. Oh my word. Absolutely blazes his chance over the bar. And Ten Hag looks on, he can't believe it. Well, just 5 minutes remaining on the clock here for one of these two teams to try and see if they can find an opener. I'm sure neither of them will be wanting to play a replay. Neither team want an extra game, as they're both looking to try and see if they can up their form in the Premier League. But Rashford is going to try and see if he can put an end to that one. But it's again a block from Tarkowski, but with just about a minute plus stoppage time on the board here, Manchester United have a corner. They float it in, it's headed away by Garner, and it's out to Bakayoko, and now the Belgian can try and see if he can stretch his legs down this left-hand side. I'm looking for the overlapping run of Mudryk. Can I find him? No, I can't. It was well intercepted by Dallo in the end. A poor ball from Bakayoko. He really should have done better in that position, because if he had done, Mudryk was away, and potentially could have been in a real goal-scoring chance there. A tries to strike, and he does get the strike right, but Pickford was equal to it. And just as I say that though, the referee blows for full time. Well, an end-to-end game here at Old Trafford, but neither team had their shooting boots on. To be honest, every single time we got into the final third, it was just a game of really poor quality from both teams, and it's easy to see why. Neither team are performing particularly well in the Premier League this season. Full time here at Old Trafford, it finishes Manchester United 0, Everton 0. Well, unfortunately for him, he didn't really have too much opportunity to try and impress on his Everton debut, but he did make quite a few decent runs, and we weren't able to pick him out. Hopefully, though, as the season progresses, we'll learn how the Ukrainian wants to play, and we'll try and see if we can use that electric pace of his to try and unlock defences. As for the team, though, a goalless stalemate against Manchester United now means that we will be forced to face off against them in another third round replay. Before we do that, though, we get ourselves back to winning ways, courtesy of a late goal from Bakayoko in the 83rd minute to give us a much needed 3 points in the Premier League as we beat Aston Villa 2-1. And clearly the pendulum of momentum has well and truly swung our way, as in the very next game, our replay against Manchester United, we beat them at Goodison Park 2-0 to secure our path to the next round of the FA Cup. And with Bristol Rovers being our very next adversary in that very next round of the FA Cup, we managed to knock 2 goals past them as we beat them 2-0 away from home, and we sail through once again, this time to the 5th round. And those 3 back-to-back wins lead us very nicely on to our last game of this episode as we head over to London, more specifically to Craven Cottage, to face off against a Fulham team that are struggling so far this season in the Premier League, as they hope to arrest that bad form in front of their home fans and try and see if they can make a major scalp here against Everton Football Club and claim 3 points. And as for us, as fatigue creeps into the camp after a pretty hectic Christmas period, I have had to make several changes to my usual starting 11. Pickford, of course, does keep his place. Patterson, though, is partnered by Godfrey, Keane and Hatto at the back. Gomez comes in place of Onana, who drops to the bench. He partners Garner in midfield. Decore comes in for Dele Alli. McNeil starts on the right. Mudryk will make his starting debut here in the Premier League for Everton as he plays on the left-hand side, and Beto gets an unlikely start up front in place of Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the bench. Here we go then, an opportunity from some of my fringe players to impress. They haven't really had too many opportunities to do so, bearing in mind that we are not playing European football so far this season, but this is a wonderful opportunity in the Premier League for some of my players to try and step up. And the question is, can they do the business here today? As Beto looks to do the business immediately. He's clean through here, and he does do the business. Oh my word, what a sensational start here at Craven Cottage. Beto clean through on goal, and he made absolutely no mistake. What a fabulous finish into the top left-hand corner. The keeper had no chance already. It's 1-0. Well, that is a lightning start if I've ever seen one. Just 5 minutes in to this game, we get our first goal of the game. And is that a sign of things to come here at Craven Cottage? Into Hatto. Out to Mudryk. Took that beautifully. Oh, that is lovely stuff from the Ukrainian. Unfortunately, he goes and gives the ball away. Did the hard work and then the simple things he got wrong. But now Fulham have the opportunity to try and see if they can hit us on the counter-attack. But Patterson comes across and gives it to McNeil. You can tell there are a lot of these players that haven't really featured so far this season, as they really do have the bit between their teeth here as we try and see if they can get themselves back into the starting 11 for Everton Football Club. Garner, though, one man who has featured heavily for me, leads the charge in midfield. Over to McNeil. McNeil plays it across to Patterson on the right-hand side. He's going to try and see if he can play it into the middle for Beto. He does just that, and the Portuguese man gets his second of the game and gets our second of the game inside 20 minutes. He slides on his knees. It's 2-0. Well, once again, it was brilliant build-up play, brilliant one-touch passing in the centre to lay a lovely ball out wide to Patterson, and I thought when he crossed it low into a congested area that Beto wasn't going to be able to get there, but he does manage to sneak in front of the centre-back and the goalkeeper to give us a 2-0 lead. Reed for Fulham. They look absolutely shell-shocked here. They're not quite sure what has happened to them in the opening 20 minutes, but they're going to try and see if they can strike back here. And it's Truffert on the left-hand side, floated into the box. Lovely play, and Andreas Pereira, what a first-time volley, gets Fulham right back into this game. Well, my word, this is end-to-end action here. It is hotting up at Craven Cottage inside the first 30 minutes. What a goal that is. I thought Beto's 2 goals were brilliant, but that is the pick of the lot. A first-time volley after a wonderful little dink ball in, and Pickford, could he have done better? I'm not quite sure, but either way, He is delighted. Fulham back in the game 2-1. Mudryk on the left-hand side. He's been fairly quiet so far. He's going to try and see if he can get himself into this game and get himself involved. But Patterson, one man who has been heavily involved, plays a ball into Garner. Garner's going to look over the top and instead gets blocked off. And in the end, Truffert wins it back. And Fulham now are in the ascendancy. They've got their tails up here. It's a good response from the London club. But they've lost it there in a really dangerous position. And McNeil plays it into Patterson. The overlap has been on all day for that young man. Can he try and pick his pass there into Beto, who gets his shot all wrong? Well, look at this. Fulham have got a free kick in a very dangerous position right on the stroke of half-time. And it's Willian who's going to step up to take. And that is an absolute thunderbolt. 2-0 down inside the opening 20 minutes. And they have responded with aplomb. 2 goals in 20 minutes for themselves at the back end of this second half. And Willian potentially with the pick of the lot. Look at this for a free kick right over the wall into the top left-hand corner. Pickford had absolutely no chance this time. And Fulham have undone all the hard work that we put in the opening 20 minutes. They get themselves back into the game. It's 2-2. Well, my word, that was an absolutely breathless first half of football. 4 goals, 2 for each team. And every single time both teams looked like they were going to go forward. They looked like they were going to score. But we've got to hope to try and see if we can start this second half as we started the first. But at the moment, it's Fulham who have possession. And they really have the confidence after getting those 2 late goals. But Ben Godfrey won the ball back. And then frustratingly gave away a free kick in a very dangerous position. Willian's already scored once from this angle. Will he do it again here? This time he does try to strike. But it's blocked off by the wall. And it's a Fulham corner. And it's one it looks like they're going to try and take short here. They do take it short. It is the danger man Willian who throws it into the box. Headed away by Ben Godfrey. Only out as far as Reed. He takes it really nicely. He takes it round by defenders. Willian throws it back in. Evanson. What a save from Pickford. Pereira will take the resulting corner. This is all Fulham here at the start of this second half. We seem to have just lost our heads and lost the momentum. Perhaps the good start went to our heads. And that, speaking of heads, was a very good one from Patterson to get the ball clear. Only out as far as Beto, who's been the best man on the pitch for us so far. But he goes and runs that one out of play. Look at the speed and the intensity of that throw. Fulham are well and truly in the ascendancy. They sense blood here and they sense they can get a great opportunity. And it's a big opportunity, but it's one that Pickford is equal to. Well, my word, we are just holding on here at the start of this second half for dear life. We've just got to try and see if we can keep things tight and try and see if we can wrestle back some momentum in this game. It is all Fulham, and once again it's thrown back in. It's headed away though this time by Keane, only out as far as Paulinho. Can we now try and see if we can hit them on the counter-attack? But we have absolutely no one up here. Decore is doing the hard work to try and go down this right-hand side, and this is a brilliant piece of play by Decore all the way down. Doesn't have any options. So again, cuts inside though, shifts it onto his left, looks for James Garner. He lines up a strike from distance, and he forces a good stop out of the Fulham goalkeeper. Andre Gomez. Hato out to Mudryk again. He's been pretty quiet, but that is absolutely lovely. That is what I brought him in for. Can he get hold of the ball? Yes, he can. Shifts it onto his right. Strikes. Oh, my word. That is absolutely brilliant from Mudryk. And what a way to mark your first goal in an Everton shirt. It's absolutely outstanding. Well, it was just the turn away from the defender, the pace to drive to the edge of the box to cut it on his right. And look at this from a finish through the legs of the defender into the right-hand corner. I'm absolutely delighted. We're back in the lead. It's 3-2. Well, this is just end-to-end stuff here. Arguably, game of the season so far as Garner wins it back high and he plays it into Beto. What a response this has been. Beto into the box. Beto strikes. It's blocked. Corner. Well, I think I need a moment here to try and catch my breath. This game is absolutely electric. The crowd are going wild. It's thrown into the box. Gomez couldn't quite get his head on it, but the goal scorer Mudryk will, and he nods it down into the path of McNeil, who tries to cut it back, but gets another corner for his troubles. And it's one that he will be the man to take, and he will try and throw it back in, looking for the head of Godfrey. Headed away, though, once again by Castagna. Will Gomez get there before him? No, he won't. Good defending, and it's hacked away. Evan Nilsson into Alex Iwobi for Fulham. He's trying to go past the last man of Godfrey. Doesn't do a good enough job of doing so, though. He's held up, but Pereira will play it into Lukic. Keane, though, comes across. Bit of mixed wires between two of my players. But now we can try and release Mudryk again down the left-hand side. And look at the pace the Ukrainian has. He's leaving the Fulham players for dead here. Unbelievable stuff here. Can he try and play it across the box? He does. The cross is not good enough, though. Beto couldn't get on the end of it, and the goalkeeper manages to get there first. Andreas Pereira, only a matter of minutes and moments remaining in this game. Mudryk has another opportunity now to burst down this left-hand side. Is he going to try and see if he can play it into the box? No, I'm just going to take it to the corner flag, but instead he does the dummy, and he brings it onto his right. This man is full of confidence. Oh, my word, I thought he was going to go all the way again, but he got his shot all wrong as the referee blows for full time. Oh, my word, look at the celebrations from the Everton players. They know what a sigh of relief it was to get the 3 points there. We thought we'd thrown thrown it away, having gone 2-0 up. But fortunately, a second half goal for Mudryk seals a 3-2 victory here at Craven Cottage. And this man did exactly what I was hoping he was going to do, stretch defences and try and see if he could pop up with an assist or a goal. Fortunately enough for me, this time it was a goal, and it was enough to seal the 3 points and seal another victory for Everton Football Club that hauls us up to 8th place in the Premier League. Now we are just 3 points behind Chelsea in the final Champions League spot in a very congested Premier League table. It is all to play for as we head into the final furlong in the second half of the season, but as for today, that is it for the end of today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Last episode we brought in the Chelsea wonder kid Mudryk on loan, who had an immediate impact helping us to victory on his starting debut. But today, with the fight on for the European spots in the Premier League, things are about to get interesting in the second half of the season. And as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, as you can see, with only £8 million left in the transfer budget, and with the transfer deadline day upon us and the window well and truly slammed shut, this is how our squad is looking for the remainder of the season. It's not fantastic, but I do think it's got enough to try and lift us up to the final European spot and hopefully secure some much needed European football ahead of the new season. However, if we are going to do that, we're going to need our strikers firing on all cylinders, and as you can see at the moment, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is my highest goal scorer this season, but with only 7 goals in 18 Premier League appearances, he's not exactly reaching the heights that I was hoping for at the beginning of the season. Bakayoko has slightly turned his form around a corner with 5 goals and 5 assists in 19 appearances in his debut season at the club for just a 20-year-old. And as for Beto, I thought he would provide a lot more stiffer competition for Dominic Calvert-Lewin this season, but only 4 goals and 11 Premier League appearances. Once again, he's not exactly hitting the heights that I was hoping for. And as for Dele Alli, yes, I made a pledge at the beginning of this career mode that I would do everything I could to try and revive the 27-year-old's career, but with only 4 goals and 4 assists in 17 Premier League appearances, again, I was hoping for much more for the former Spurs wonder kid. Now, in order to get more out of my attacking players last episode, I did make a couple of tweaks, including moving both Danjuma and Bakayoko on the left and right-hand side of midfield up to play as more wingers to try and see if they can provide some goals to the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But it seems like that still isn't enough, and that is why last episode I asked you, should I consider doing something completely different, making wholesale changes and completely rearranging my formation altogether? Now, of course, you have come back to me and you've let me know what your thoughts are. You should consider using a 4-3-3 attack and change from wing play to tiki-taka. Now, to be fair, this formation doesn't drastically change the kind of personnel that I have on the pitch. It does keep the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin leading the line up front for me on his own, with the likes of Danjuma and Bakayoko pushing far higher up the pitch though, and Dele Alli also playing far higher up the pitch to try and support Dominic Calvert-Lewin a little bit better. But the biggest change really is moving away from this wing play tactical vision over to something a little more Barcelona-esque in terms of tiki-taka. Now, obviously, to play this type of tactical game, you're going to need players that are very technically gifted, very comfortable on the ball, that can play a slow build-up and can play some short passing in between the lines. However, looking at my starting 11, having only 2 players rated 80 plus, and one of those being my goalkeeper, I really wasn't sure at the beginning of the season whether or not I had enough confidence in these players that they could play such a heavy pressing, high tactical game. However, another quick suggestion was, what if you tried 2 at the top formation to try and get the best out of both of your strikers? So obviously I have considered this, and this does give me the opportunity to try and play Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front together. However, it does mean, based on all the different variations of having 2 players up front, that I'm going to have to substitute either my wide players or potentially Dele Alli behind the striker, or even one of my more defence-minded midfielders instead. Now, bearing in mind Bakayoko is having a pretty decent season, and he is my second highest goal scorer this season, I definitely don't want to risk losing him from the starting 11. Added to the fact that obviously I keep saying I made the agreement that I would try and do everything I could to revive the career of Dele Alli, I can't now shunt him out of my starting 11 either. So it does mean I'm going to have to consider sacrificing one of my central defensive midfielders, and that is either James Garner or Amadou Onana right in the centre of the park. And with Onana being the man who is slightly higher rated, it does mean that James Garner is going to unfortunately have to drop to the bench. However, this new formation does allow me to still retain one central defensive midfielder. It allows me to maintain width with the likes of Bakayoko and Danjuma. It allows me to keep Dele Alli in the pocket behind the strikers and pair Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front together for the very first time this season. As for this 4-3-3 attacking formation, yes, it means that Dominic Calvert-Lewin will remain up front on his own, but it does push the likes of Danjuma and Bakayoko far higher up the pitch, as well as Dele Alli, and it manages to keep the more defence-minded midfielders in James Garner and Onana to try and retain some defensive solidity. So as you can see, those changes have provided me now with 3 formations. I've got my original 4-4-1-1, I've got the brand new 4-1-2-1-2, which is essentially a 4-4-2, and I've got the brand new 4-3-3 attacking formation, all of which I can choose from this episode. And so what I'm going to do, with plenty of games obviously to get through this episode, I am going to try and utilise all 3 formations, test them against the best, and see which one comes out on top. up, and the first one is going to be in front of our home fans here at Goodison Park as we are taking on the North London Giants that is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club as we look to secure a much needed 3 points ahead of our European fight this season. And the first formation I am going to try is this 4-3-3 attack. It does mean that I am retaining the usual starting 11 and all of my best players, but it does also mean that I am pushing up the likes of Danjuma, Bakayoko and Dele Alli. So hopefully we're going to see a game full of excitement and full of goals ahead of us today. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting one because unfortunately I still am quite convinced that Everton don't have good enough players to try and execute this tiki-taka tactical vision. But let's see what happens today, and we couldn't have asked for tougher opposition here at Goodison Park as Spurs just carved their way through my defence, and it is the worst possible start we could have asked for. Less than 10 minutes into this game, my defence have fallen asleep, and the pressure of starting a new formation here for the first time this season has it already got to us. Inside 7 minutes, Spurs take the lead 1-0. Well, what a woeful start, and this is not the start that Everton nor the Evertonian fans were hoping for here. We've got to try and see if we can try and do something a little bit different and try and see if we can get ourselves back into this game. Richarlison, though, out to Kulusevski on the right-hand side. We're all over the place here in the opening 15 minutes. It's thrown across into Moretti. What a save from Pickford. Tell you what, we are struggling to get to grips here. We just do not have the control or the dominance that we would be hoping for. But James Garner comes across with a crunching challenge. Kulusevski, though, loses the ball to Mykolenko, and now James Garner can try and escape with it as he bursts down the left-hand side and tries to go a little bit more centrally. But in the end, the central defensive midfielder gets cut off by another one in Yves Bissouma. But Dele Alli, the former Spurs man, he wins the ball back well. And now we can try and bring this one out of defence. James Garner, though, loses it. Again, this short passing really just isn't cutting it for us. Richarlison strikes, and against his former club, Richarlison, the former Everton man, gets Tottenham's second of the game, and we are falling apart here inside 20 minutes. Well, it all started from James Garner giving the ball away in a really dangerous position, and Spurs won it back high, and of course, you know the rest. Richarlison striking with his left past Pickford, giving him no chance, and I'm frustrated. It's 2-0. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is just not working out at all, is it? We've just got to get to grips here. We just seem to have lost our heads. We can't find our way through this Tottenham pressure here, and we can't seem to escape with the ball, but Dele Alli is going to hopefully be the man to do just that. Bakayoko, though, turns, wins it back high. Dele Alli feeds it into Patterson. Has he managed to stay onside? It looks like he has. Patterson into the box. He's looking for a cutback here. Can he find one? No, he can't. Romero's in the way. Where on earth were all my attacking players? James Garner into Onana. Onana goes forward into Danjuma, who's come more central. He's going to release it to the overlapping run of Mykolenko. This is much better from Everton. Nice controlled possession here as we try and find the opening against Tottenham. James Garner into Bakayoko. He's come central, plays it short into Dele Alli. Dele Alli round the corner looking for Danjuma. It was well caught off by Pedro Porro, and in the end it was hacked clear by Hugo Lloris. Suma for Spurs. Out to Romero. Pedro Porro to try and drive down this right-hand side into Kulusevski. He goes central into Richarlison, who's leading the line, and Son has got round the back of James Patterson, and now it's into Moretti, but Branthwaite comes across. Good defending. Looks like it's going to be a short corner here that Kulusevski's going to take, and he's going to take it to the danger man, James Maddison, who tries to make his way into the penalty area. He finds Kulusevski. Kulusevski into the box to Tarkowski. Richarlison strikes, and Richarlison on the turn gets his second and gets Tottenham's third. Well, it was a complete disaster, I have to be totally honest. I was a little bit distracted because my mouse on my PC just jumped into the middle of the screen. I lost my head, my defence lost their heads, and Richarlison kept his. A lovely turn and finish. Pickford, could he have done better? Perhaps he could have, but Richarlison won't care as much as I do. It's 3-0 Spurs. Into Bakayoko, turns really nicely, and oh my word, he's just taken out there by Moretti. I think it was a yellow card for that man. He's very lucky to still be on the pitch. Well, let's have a look at the replay here. Let's check to see. Made no attempt to play the ball. That was a two-footed challenge. How was that not a red card? Udogie for Spurs into Heung-min Son. Lovely play into Moretti now. Turns and gives it back to Heung-min Son at the start of the second half. He's got the pace and the awareness to get away from Patterson. He's frantically trying to chase him back. That is brilliant, brilliant defending from the young man in the end, though. Branthwaite into Onana. This is our first opportunity really of this second half to try and build from the back here as Danjuma is going to look for the overlap of Mykolenko. He does manage to find him, and Mykolenko now can try and drive into space down this left hand side. He hasn't got the pace to get away from Pedro Porro, so instead cuts it back for Danjuma. Lovely little play into the path of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who tried to switch it in field, keeps it though and strikes straight against the defender. Is cleared away by Spurs. Udogie on the left hand side. Nice little pass into Moretti. Moretti central, goes back out wide to Heung-min Son again. He's had the beating of Patterson all game here. Again, the young man is frantically trying to go back, but this time Son is aware and cuts it back, but this time James Garner comes across. Brilliant defending from the central defensive midfielder, and he's done a really good job of winning the ball back there. And now we can try and see if we can hit them on the counter, but obviously we're playing a much slower game here to try and see if we can retain possession and retain control in this tiki-taka position. Mykolenko into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Has he stayed on side? Yes, he has. Bakayoko can't get it round Udogi. And again, we've just lost that counter-attacking lightning pace that we've got at the moment that we're just not really taking advantage of with this formation and tactical vision. But Bakayoko back into James Garner. He cuts it back into Bakayoko. He's going to try and look to see if he can strike with his left, just wide. Into Giovanni Lo Celso on as a substitute for Spurs. Tarkowski came across to try and challenge, and Willems wins it back and then loses it just as quickly to Heung-min Son. And Richarlison's got the beating of him down the right-hand side. Tarkowski comes across to spare the young man's blushes. Banana tries to bring this one out of defence. He's done a really good job of doing so, and he plays a short one into Mudryk. Lovely stuff from the Ukrainian now. He tries to bring it forward, ends up losing it. Garner goes all the way out wide to Willems on the right-hand side. He takes it well. Doesn't really have too many options up ahead of him, though, so has to go back inside for Tarkowski. Tarkowski across to Anana, and Mudryk has come short here. Took it really nicely, and Mudryk lays it off into Hato on as a sub. Cuts it back into Decore. What a beautiful piece of play for Everton, and that is where our new tactical vision shows exactly what this football club can do. Well, it was absolutely beautiful from start to finish. Lovely passing, and we just unlocked a stubborn Spurs defence. We just cut through them like a knife through butter, and Decore was on hand just inside the penalty area to lash home a strike with his left foot. It's 3-1. We're back in the game. Well, we got 5 minutes remaining on the clock here. Is that too little too late to try and resurrect some form of result here? As Lo Celso now has it inside our half, but it's well won once again by Onana. We well and truly have our tails up here, and Onana plays it into Decore. Decore's going to look into the feet of Beto. Beto takes it on and strikes. Beto scores. Oh my word, what a strike. And oh my word, is a miracle about to happen here at Goodison Park? Well, look at this. On as a substitute, Decore and Beto combining, and Beto on the edge of the box absolutely smashed it past Hugo Lloris. A wonderful strike. Look at me, I'm delighted, it's 3-2. Well, here we go then, that was in the 90th minute. Can we try and see if we can win the ball back high and do whatever it takes to try and get an equaliser here? What a final 10 minutes we have seen here at Goodison Park, but unfortunately, it is not meant to be as the referee blows for full time. Well, I tell you what, the Spurs players and fans breathe a sigh of relief. We almost had them there in the final 10 minutes. We were so close, but unfortunately, we just couldn't get the job done. That man, Richarlison, has come back to bite his former club. As Spurs take the victory here at Goodison Park at full time, it's 3-2. Well, to be fair, it was a tough ask to expect some of these players to transition to a new formation immediately. But whilst we didn't exactly set the world alight in the first 70 to 80 minutes, allowing Richarlison to grab a brace, the likes of Abdoulaye Decore and the Portuguese man Beto seem to come alive in the final 10 minutes, get to grips with the formation, and bring us right back into the game. And so whilst we're unfortunate not to claim the 3 points, I've got hopes that potentially this formation might be able to help us as the season progresses. However, it is now time to move on to formation number 2, away from home in arguably what is going to be the toughest game of our season so far, against Manchester City, the reigning Premier League champions. However, it is a wonderful opportunity for our fans to finally see the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto start up front next to each other for the very first time this season, which I'm sure they will be absolutely eagerly anticipating as we head into this game. For the sake of fairness, I've kept the exact same starting 11 as the one that started against Tottenham Hotspur, with the only exception being that, of course, Beto comes in up front to partner Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and unfortunately James Garner has to drop to the bench. As for that, it is this 4-4-2 formation. We are sticking with the tactical vision of wing play, as obviously we do have to try and utilise these two strikers. Let's see what we can do in front of a Manchester City and Everton crowd. But here we go already. Manchester City immediately on the front foot, and Kevin De Bruyne is about to line up a free kick here. Is he going to try and strike from distance? He does. It's a pretty tame one in the end, though, that Pickford makes a save and makes it look easy. Branthwaite into Onana. The single pivot there in the centre of the park, and you can already see he is struggling with it as he loses the ball in a dangerous position. That is absolutely sensational from Bernardo Silva. Caught my defence and myself completely unawares, and he laid it on a plate for Phil Foden, who made no mistake inside the penalty area. Well, Onana is so used to having James Garner next to him, and he completely got his wires all mixed up there. He was dispossessed in a really dangerous position, and oh my word, Phil Foden will get the plaudits for the finish, but oh my goodness, Bernardo Silva was the main man who made it all happen, and much to my frustration, City lead 1-0. Well, it just goes to show losing that spare man in midfield to try and sacrifice for an extra striker hasn't worked for us so far here against Manchester City. I did say it was going to be a tough game, but one that I am hoping we can try and respond to and try and go a little bit more attacking with as the game progresses. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin has it, and he's going to try and look for the overlapping run of Bakayoko. He's done a really good job there of Bakayoko keeping hold of the ball. He's going to look for Onana, who's going to try and fling it over to the left-hand side, nods it down for Danjuma. Danjuma back to Mykolenko, back into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who turns. He's got the opportunity now to get into these dangerous pockets of space. Oh my goodness! Dominic Calvert-Lewin has come alive here. What is potentially the goal of the season. Oh my goodness, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, take a bow, my friend. Well, we've gone from conceding a really poor goal at one end of the field to scoring an extraordinary one at the other end. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, having the spare man up front, allowed him to just peel off to the right-hand side and pick up the ball from deep and lash a strike home to celebrate. It's 1-1. Well, my word, I didn't know that the Englishman was capable of such incredible goals. I thought he was going to be more of a poacher inside the box, throwing balls into him. But my word, if he can do something like that for the remainder of the season, who knows where this Everton team could end up. But Bernardo Silva is going to look to try and see if he can make an immediate change to that. But Mykolenko comes across and defends well. John Stones with the throw. Mykolenko wins it back again, and now once again we can try and hit Manchester City on the counter-attack. We've got numbers up ahead of us, and this time it's Beto running into the channels here, and this is where the advantage of having more men up front comes into play. Beto in the box uses the decoy of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Perhaps he should have given it to him, but he sensed his name up and light here at the Etihad, and unfortunately couldn't take advantage. Ederson with a brilliant save, but Danjuma will take the resulting corner. End-to-end stuff here in the opening half an hour. It's thrown back in. This time Branthwaite will be the man to get hold of it. Plays it back out to Danjuma, and again I'm going to try and throw this one back in. Not a good enough cross. Cleared away by Manchester City. Bernardo Silva into Erling Haaland, who's come across, and now Mykolenko though tried to put a challenge in, and in the end him and Branthwaite got their wires completely crossed there. Mykolenko tried to trap back, and in the end De Bruyne now has it for Manchester City, but he can't go past Danjuma, and now Dele Alli has it. Look at the runners we've got here. He dinks it over into the path of Beto, and now the Portuguese man can go all the way here. He's going to strike with his left, and he's going to give us a 2-1 lead here at the Etihad Stadium. Oh my word, look how we've turned this game around. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto celebrate. The first time they both start up front together in a game, they both get on the score sheet. Ederson can't believe it. Well, again, having the extra man up front allowed Dele Alli just to dink a wonderful ball over to Beto, who ran onto it. And due to the fact Dominic Calvert-Lewin was right next to him, the defenders didn't know what to do, and it allowed Beto to smash a ball home to give us a 2-1 lead. Kevin De Bruyne, short one into Erling Haaland. City looked to respond immediately. What a strike. But what a save from Jordan Pickford. Oh, we've got 45 minutes to hold on here to what will be a memorable victory at the Etihad. 2 goals, one from Dominic Calvert-Lewin and one from Beto, really proving that potentially in the opening 45 minutes at least it was the right decision to start both of them up front. As Patterson with a double challenge here. Is he going to make it a third challenge on Diaz? No, he's not. The Portuguese defender does a really good job, but in the end Jack Grealish though plays it out for a throw-in. Bakayoko into Onana. Onana seems to have found his feet here, and Dele Alli has certainly found his feet, as has Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Out to Patterson on the right-hand side. He's going to try and see if he can go past Diaz. Again, though, the Portuguese is too strong for him. Rodrigo for City. Into Bernardo Silva, the danger man on the right-hand side. He's going to try and look to go past Danjuma. He does go past Danjuma, and now Erling Haaland has the option to go back to him. And he goes all the way back now to Rico Lewis. City playing some wonderful stuff here. Rodrigo into the box. He's being held up there by Tarkowski. It still falls to Haaland. What a save. Well, City have started off this second half exactly as they started the first, looking to try and see if they can arrest this momentum back into their favour here as Phil Foden brings it into Rodrigo, shifts it onto his left. Can he strike? Mykolenko comes across and wriggles his way out of trouble. Brilliant, brilliant defending from the young man. And now Danjuma can try and see if he can release the overlap. He does, into Mykolenko, and he can now drive down the right-hand side. He hasn't got the pace of Kyle Walker to try and deal with here. He's only got to go up against Rico Lewis and instead cuts it back for Danjuma. Danjuma's going to throw it into the box, looking for Beto. He overcooked the cross. It was a poor one in the end, but Bakayoko will win it back, and he will now try and throw it back in, looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the volley, and what a volley it was. Bakayoko will try and throw it back in. This time, though, it wasn't a good enough one, and Ederson catches it easily. Erling Haaland out to Jack Grealish on the left-hand side. About 20 minutes remaining on the clock here for Manchester City to try and find a way back into this game, and for us to try and desperately hold on for a memorable victory in front of the Evertonians, the travelling Evertonians here at the Etihad. But Jack Grealish is going to look to try and see if he can put a stop to that. It's into Kevin De Bruyne. A big save there from Jordan Pickford. He's been absolutely sensational all game. Danjuma for Everton cuts inside. End-to-end stuff here in this second half. Beto holds the ball up well and plays a lovely pass into Mykolenko. He's going to now try and drive down this left-hand side. Can I try and look for the cutback here? John Stones read it really well. Onana into Patterson, back to Onana, lovely stuff there. Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. Dominic Calvert-Lewin round the corner into Beto. We can't hold the ball up against John Stones though. Manchester City, wave after wave of attack here in the last 5 minutes as Phil Foden strikes and puts it wide. Jordan Pickford will take the short goal kick here. Branthwaite holds onto it into Onana. Lovely little one touch into Tarkowski. He brings it out of defence. I'm going to go all the way out wide to Bakayoko. Lovely one touch into Dominic Calvert-Lewin and a brilliant piece of play into Doucouré. We've completely opened up this Manchester City defence. Doucouré has it. Doucouré strikes. Doucouré gives us a 3-1 victory here at the Etihad, deep into stoppage time. And look at the celebrations from the Everton fans, the Everton players and the Everton substitutes. Oh my word, what a historic day here at Manchester City. An unbelievable piece of build-up play, one touch, lovely into the channels, and Doucouré used the extra man of Beto to hold off the Manchester City press, and in the end smashed a strike past Ederson. Beautiful finish. He comes on once again and strikes beautifully. It's 3-1 Everton. And with the referee calling time on what has been a memorable end-to-end game, Everton Football Club have done the unthinkable. They've gone to Manchester City. They've set up in the most attacking way possible, and with the first time Beto and Dominic Calvert-Lewin starting up front together this season, they've gone and beaten the reigning Premier League champions in their home ground. Full time here at the Etihad, it finishes City 1, Everton 3. Well, who would have thought such a change in formation would have such incredible results? Beto is drawing some praise from the media courtesy of a top draw display. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored what is potentially going to be the goal of the season and potentially his best goal in an Everton shirt. And Beto finally came to life, paired with the big man Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What an exciting partnership we might have on our hands. So yes, it is 2 games and 2 wildly different results. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Should I try and completely switch up the culture here at Everton, switch to a 4-3-3, more tiki-taka of tactical vision, or hot off the back of that memorable victory against Manchester City, lump the 2 big men Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front, try and play balls into them and stick to this more 4-4-2 formation? Let me know what you think down below. However, in the interest of fairness and with me switching back to our default 4-4-1-1 formation to sim the next couple of games, it looks like we've taken the positive momentum straight into our next game at home against Crystal Palace as Dele Alli gets on the score sheet in the 73rd minute to secure a 1-0 victory. But unfortunately Dele Alli can't take his positive momentum into the very next game as he missed a penalty in the 74th minute, as we can only succumb to a draw away from home against Brighton 1-1. And so with those results helping us climb up to 5th place and into the Europa League spot this season, just 2 points behind Newcastle United in 4th, we are about to turn our attention back to the only cup competition that we can potentially win this season in the FA Cup. And it is Newcastle United at St James's Park that are going to be the team that are going to be standing in our way here today. Now, as I said, in the interest of fairness, I am going to play 1 game each with all my different formations, and of course that means it is now time to switch back to my 4-4-1-1. However, as you can see, with a little bit of fatigue creeping into the camp, I have had to make a few changes to my usual starting 11, and that means Jordan Pickford, of course, keeps his place in goal, but Willem starts at right back. Keane, Godfrey and Hatto both come in at the back. Onana and Garner partner each other in midfield, with Doucouré starting behind Beto up front, but of course Mudryk starts and Bakayoko starts on the right and left hand side of midfield. So here we go, big game then, our one and only opportunity so far this season to try and claim some silverware, but it's a terrible start. Oh my word, Newcastle inside the opening 3 minutes have carved my defence apart. Well, I believe it said before the start of the game that Harvey Barnes has scored 3 in 3, make that 4 in 4. This man is on fire and he just had so much time and space inside the box. We were just all over the place. And look at that for a side-footed finish. Lovely stuff. Pickford had no chance. It's 1-0 Newcastle United. Out wide to Willems on the right-hand side. He's taking it nicely and goes in field for James Garner. James Garner's going to try and look across. Gives it away. Really poor from the young Englishman. And now Newcastle can try and hit us back on the counter-attack immediately. Armour on now for Newcastle. Out to Kieran Trippier. He goes inside for Alexander Isak. He turns. Looks for Armour on again. Blocked off though this time by Hatto. Into Shah. Shah into Willock. Into Alexander Isak. Over to Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes strikes. And Harvey Barnes gives Newcastle a 2-0 lead here at St James's Park. What on earth is going on with the Everton defence? Into Willems. He's under a bit of pressure, but he's wriggling away. He's doing a good job here, and he just about manages to get away from that press. into Ben Godfrey. He's going to try and bring it out of defence. Tries to find a ball into Onana, but Bruno Guimaraes absolutely takes him out from behind. Won't even get a yellow card for his troubles. How on earth did he get away with that one? Ben Godfrey will take it short, though, into Keane, who turns the defender nicely, and Keane tries to lay it off into the path of Mudryk, who's come short, and this is really the first opportunity that the Ukrainian has had to try and go out the Newcastle defence. He's done a really good job. He dinks it in, looks for Bakayoko on the volley. What a save from Pope. And Bakayoko will take the resulting corner here, and he's going to try and fire it in into the head of Mudryk. Why on earth would you look for Mudryk, one of the smallest men on the pitch, not the target man that I was hoping to give it to? And Newcastle now bring the ball away into Bruno Guimaraes, into Almiron. Newcastle looking to put the final nail in our coffin here and try and see if they can add a third, but Ben Godfrey comes across well, only out as far as Dan Burn though. Anderson shapes up for a strike and gets it all wrong, goes out for a Newcastle corner. And it will be one that will be thrown into the box here, looking for Almiron, but it's Garner who gets it away, only out as far as Harvey Barnes. Almiron strikes off of Mudryk, and we still can't get the ball out of our penalty area. Harvey Barnes has it, one of my players is down. I need you to get up here, man, because we do not have the time for people to be sitting down as we need to defend. And eventually we do manage to get the ball clear into Bakayoko. He's now got space to try and drive into down this right hand side, but he hasn't got the confidence to try and do that, so instead cuts back inside, looks for Beto now, who turns really nicely onto his left. I'm going to try and lay this one off into Mudryk. He's going to shape it back onto his right. I'm going to look for the overlap of Hato. It's a good overlap. Hato throws it into the box. It was a good ball in the end, but no one was there. Can Hato win the second one? No, he can't. It's headed clear. Well, it was a woeful 45 minutes. Decore has gone down injured, and that means that I am going to change things up here. We've got to do something to try and see if we can get our way back into this game. I'm switching back to the formation that performs so well against Manchester City. Decore will come off. It's going to be Dwight McNeil, the man, to replace him, and James Garner will also come off. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's going to come on as well. I'm obviously going to switch Dominic Calvert-Lewin to start up front. Bakayoko will go to the right-hand side, and we're going to now look for Beto and Dominic Calvert-Lewin to try and see if they can do the business for us in the second half. Into Bruno Guimaraes, into Almiron. Almiron gives it to Alexander Isak. Newcastle starts in the second half exactly as they started the first, and it's the danger man Harvey Barnes who gets past Willems and drives into the box. Headed away though by Keane, only as far as Bakayoko, who does manage to win it. Beto now has it into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and the extra man now is helping us as Dwight McNeil tries to go across. Good defending in the end though by Sven Botman. Fabian Schär for Newcastle, out to Dan Burn, unmarked on the left hand side, and Nana comes across to try and challenge him, doesn't do a good enough job. Harvey Barnes into Alexander Isak into Anderson, who strikes straight at Pickford. Mudryk to turn and try and see if he can stretch his legs down the left hand side, goes inside for Beto, and Beto releases a wonderful ball back to him, and now the Ukrainian has got space to try and drive into down this left hand side. I'm going to cut it across, looking for the run of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. In the end, it wasn't the best ball, and Beto couldn't get there. This is better from Everton, though. We are well and truly in the ascendancy here as Mudryk goes inside for McNeil. McNeil, is he going to look for the overlapping run? Instead finds Mudryk, and Mudryk now drives into the penalty area, cuts it back, looks for Beto. Good defending in the end from Fabian Schär. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's under all sorts of pressure here. Where are my options? Looking for players, but Newcastle just seem to be everywhere. Willems, though, with a lovely reverse pass into Bakayoko, and Bakayoko now to try and play it across to Beto. I think he was just offside, but Nick Pope made sure it didn't matter as he dived out and claimed the ball and made it his own. Into Beto. Beto looks for the short ball into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin looks out wide, looks for Bakayoko. The pass wasn't good enough. Newcastle now can try and hit us on the counter-attack. It's Alexander Isak into Harvey Barnes. Keane comes across though with a big challenge, and now Willems can bring it out of defence. Plays a lovely ball into Bakayoko down the right-hand side. He's going to try and cut back in. I'm going to look for the run of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He took it on, but oh my word, Newcastle defensively today have been outstanding. And frustratingly, that is that at the end of the game. Jordan Pickford looks down at the ground. He knows the disappointment here, but it was that man Harvey Barnes. He was sensational from start to finish. His 2 goals were the difference here today, as at full time here it finishes Newcastle 2, Everton 0. Well, I lauded this formation after beating Manchester City, but there was nothing it could do to stop Newcastle in the second half of that game. The team that we are chasing for the final Champions League spot in the Premier League is the team that unfortunately knocks us out of the FA Cup. Unfortunately, it means that there will be no trophies coming back to Everton Football Club this season, but it does still mean we've got a big decision to make over what formation we're going to play with for the remainder of the season. Are we going to stick with this 4-4-1-1? Are we going to switch to a more attacking 4-4-2, sticking the 2 big men up front? Or are we going to move to a more tiki-taka style 4-3-3 and try and see if we can dominate and take control of every game for the remainder of the season? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, but as for that, that is the end of today's episode. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time. Last episode we tried 3 different tactics with varying success, and today you'll make the decision which one we move forward with in the hope we can achieve European football this season. And as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, we had the classic 4-4-1-1 formation we've been using all season. We then switched to a more 4-4-2 diamond, playing Dele Alli in behind 2 strikers in Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front, before also switching to more of a 4-3-3 attacking formation, sticking to the same sort of players that we've been playing in the classic 4-4-1-1, but trying to move us into more attacking positions, and playing a bit more of a Barcelona-esque tiki-taka style along with it. So based on our performances last episode, I put the question to you, which one of those 3 would you like us to see continue through to the rest of the season? And whilst it was a close call, the overall victory did go for that classic 4-4-2 diamond formation, making use of the 2 big men, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto, up front together, and hopefully to see if we can use this formation to try and build on the fabulous 3-1 victory we secured against Manchester City using it. However, with Neal Maupay on loan at Brentford this season, having 2 players up front means that I'm using both Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto as my only 2 strikers, and it means I've got absolutely no one in reserve who can play in either of those positions should one of them get injured this season. And it looks like I'm not the only person to pick up on that, because I've got a comment saying if you use the 4-1-2-1-2, you might want to consider getting another striker off the bench in case Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Beto get injured or tired at all. So once again, this is where I turn to you to look for some help to see who you think I should bring in the summer transfer window. I've had some pretty decent suggestions, the likes of Benjamin Sesko, the likes of Brian Brobby, and even Tales Magno up front. But obviously, with me still only having £8 million left to spend, and with the January transfer window well and truly shut, with us heading deep into the second half of the season at the start of March, it does give me some additional time to try and think about who I can potentially add to my shortlist and who could potentially be a decent backup striker, or even a long-term replacement for the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front. So of course, as always, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now, on top of that, while I do think this formation change is a little bit harsh on the likes of Onana or James Garner, who were forming a pretty decent partnership in the centre of the park, I have had to sacrifice one of them to keep this man Dele Alli in behind the 2 strikers. However, whilst I am doing everything I possibly can to try and revive this man's career, at 27 years of age and only 75 rated, is he going to be the long-term option at Everton Football Club? And bearing in mind the only other player who can play in that position is this man Abdoulaye Doucouré at 31 and only 77 rated, he clearly is not going to be the future either. So once again, if you've got any particular suggestions as to who can come in and try and improve that position in behind the striker, once again, let me know down in the comments what you think. As for now though, it's time for us to jump straight back into the football and put this 4-4-2 diamond formation back to the test once again, as we face off against another Manchester team. This time it's Manchester United at Old Trafford, a Manchester team who are reflecting their poor performances in real life here on this career mode as they sit 11th place in the Premier League table, and perhaps this is one of the first and few times we head to Old Trafford with a clear sight of 3 points in our mind. Can we do the business here today? Time will tell. And a fully fit starting lineup means it's a return to my best 11, and of course that means Pickford starting goal, Patterson at right back, Tarkowski and Branthwaite in the centre with Mykolenko on the left. Onana will go behind Dele Alli in midfield with Bakayoko and Danjuma on the left and right, and of course Dominic Calvert-Lewin is partnered by Beto up front as we look to try and see if we can hit the United goal several times today. So here we go then, a big switch and a big opportunity for us to try and see if we can turn ourselves into a really attacking team here on this career mode. Can we do the business? Let's see what we can do. Dalot though immediately down this right hand side, and immediately Branthwaite comes across and challenges him really poorly and gives away a cheap free kick, and it's one that Bruno Fernandes is going to take, and it looks like he's going to swing this one right into the box. He does. It's a good ball in. Anthony with a big volley and a Pickford with an even bigger save. Bruno Fernandes is going to take the resulting corner, and he's going to go short here into Anthony. He's being blocked off though by Bakayoko. Oh, that's really good stuff from the Belgian to just skip away from 2 challenges. And where on earth is the United defence now? Bakayoko can try and drive up this side. He's being chased down though by Alphonso Davies. Doesn't have the speed to get away from him, but is able to hold the ball up into Danjuma. Dele Alli round the corner into Patterson. Patterson into the box to strike, and the right back driving into the penalty area in this more attack-minded formation drives into the box and manages to drive a strike straight into the back of the net. Well, we broke at lightning speed, and Patterson was unmarked on the right hand side. He was picked out by that man Dele Alli, and that was a brilliant strike from the young man, and he gave the keeper no chance. I'm delighted it's 1-0. Alphonso Davies into Marcus Rashford, who's come central to try and see if he can get involved in this game, but he's gone and switched out wide to the left-hand side. Has he got the beating of Tarkowski for pace? Clearly he does, but Tarkowski fighting away and does enough to only give away a throw, but it's one that Rashford's going to take quick into Alphonso Davies. Rashford gets it back into Amad Diallo, now into Patrick Schick. Davies on the edge of the box here. We've got to try and see if we can put a challenge in as Pickford comes out, and it falls straight to Patrick Schick. and literally within about 5 minutes, United are back on level terms. Well, they just peppered the box and they just kept on coming. We couldn't get away from them, and in the end, they did get a bit of luck though. Pickford came out sharply, but it fell right to Patrick Schick. And when you give him the ball just there in an open net, he will make you pay 1-1. Patterson infield to Dele Alli. Nice little one touch into Bakayoko, into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Tried to get it back. That was good play, but it was well read there by Alphonso Davies. It's going to be a ding-dong battle between the two of them all game, I've got to say. But now Patrick Schick, the goal scorer, he now finds Amad Diallo, and Diallo strikes from distance. Good save again from Pickford. United beginning to turn the screw here. They have been all over us. Only for a counter-attack have we managed to get a goal in this game. We've got to try and see if we can get a foothold back into it. They strike again. Pickford once again is equal to it. He's had a really good game so far today. Short corner though. Almost half an hour on the clock. They dummy the short corner and send it into the penalty area, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin was back defending. Bruno Fernandes is too strong for Bakayoko as Rashford lines up a strike, and this time Pickford is beaten yet again, and Rashford drives it low and hard into the bottom right-hand corner, and United have turned the game on its head. It's 2-1 here at Old Trafford. Well, we just didn't close him down quick enough. Rashford had enough opportunity and enough time to set himself and strike from distance, and it was a really good strike. Pickford had no chance through a bunch of crowded bodies in the penalty area. I'm frustrated. It's 2-1 United. Patterson into Bakayoko. Really nicely done here. We sold the dummy to Alphonso Davies, and now Bakayoko can bring it into the box here. He continues his run. Where is the cross? It was such a poor one. It was behind Beto in the end. That was not what we wanted to do, and that's a really disappointing way to end that attack, but Mykolenko does keep it alive. Danjuma around the corner into Beto. Good. Brilliant challenge from Maguire, because if he didn't make that one, Beto would have been into Amad Diallo now. This game is really starting to open up here. Mykolenko tried to come across the challenge. Schick into Anthony. Anthony into the box. Has he got any options? Mykolenko comes back across the cover though. Good defending from the Ukrainian. Diallo has it again for United. We can't seem to find a way out of our own half here in the first half of this game. United are going to try and see if they can add a third here to really put the nail in the coffin before the stroke of half-time as Rashford plays it across to the back post. Davies is there, and it falls straight to Amad Diallo. Pickford just parried it into his path for the second time this game, and United do take a 3-1 lead heading into the break here. We just could not keep them out of the net. It was a brilliant cross to the back post. Alphonso Davies got his head on it. It looked like a decent save, but Pickford just parried it straight into the path of Amad Diallo, and he said thank you very much, just like Patrick Schick did earlier today, as that man, Eric Ten Hag, is delighted. 3-1. Danjuma down the left-hand side plays a wonderful ball into Beto, who's run the channel here, and we've got three men up here. Can Beto try and find at least one of them? No, he can't. Corner. And it's a corner that Bakayoko is going to take, and I'm going to try and see if I can throw this one right into the penalty spot. He's looking for the head of Branthwaite, doesn't manage to find it. It will come out to Onana, who just chets it down into the path of Tarkowski, and the centre-back runs all the way to the wing here. Doesn't manage to get the cross, and it's blocked off by that man, Alphonso Davies, who has had a very good game, it must be said here today, and United bring the ball clear. Mason Mount for United. Into Amad Diallo here. Lovely little turn into the path of Mason Mount, and now he finds Patrick Schick, who goes past Branthwaite like he's not even there. Patrick Schick in the box. Oh my word, he makes it look easy. Manchester United are 4-1 up here at Old Trafford, and Jordan Pickford once again has had an absolute mare. Well, he's gone from save after save in the first half to especially the last two goals being really, really poor. The first one he palmed into the path of Diallo, and that one he's beaten so easily at his near post. Pickford really shouldn't be beaten there. Terrible goalkeeping from the England number one as Manchester United take a 4-1 lead. This is turning into an absolute rout here at Old Trafford. After a brilliant start in the opening 20 minutes, we've completely fallen apart and we've lost our heads, and we just cannot seem to fashion any sort of opportunity here. Beto, though, is going to try and see if he can make a change to that. Out to Danjuma on the left-hand side. He's got no options, though. Danjuma, in the end, has to shift it onto his right. Gives it back to Beto. We're going to try and see if we can build up slowly here. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is challenged by Martinez, and that is pretty much the story of the game. Amad Diallo all the way out to Anthony on the right-hand side. We are stretched here as Mykolenko tried to come across. Doesn't do a good enough job, and Diallo has it again. This time, though, it's Danjuma who does come across. Good defending, though, from him. And now we can release Mykolenko. Can we try and see if we can hit United on the counter-attack? Dele Alli has it round the corner into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm going to go out to Patterson on the right-hand side. Can he find a ball into the path of Bakayoko? It's a poor one. And yet again, our final ball has let us down here today. Tarkowski out to Branthwaite. We're going to try and see if we can build out from the back here as Mudryk on as a substitute is going to try and see if he can make an impact here, and he's turned the defender really nicely, and he's got the pace now to drive down this side. Can he try and check inside? Maguire comes across again. He had options there, Mudryk, but didn't get his head up and try and find them when he really needed to, and now Manchester United can try and hit us on the counter. We're just all over the place, 6s and 7s at the back here. They're just cutting through us like a knife through butter, but Mudryk comes across to make amends. Good challenge from the Ukrainian, and that is exactly the sort of spirit that I was hoping hoping he would come on and bring for us. Branthwaite, though, to bring it out of defence into Onana. The referee is looking at his watch. Is he going to blow for full time here? We can't get out of our own half here. United are absolutely relentless. It's into Rashford, into Schick, who strikes, goes out for a corner, which Anthony will take. He's going to fling it into the box. It's headed clear by McNeil. What is the referee going to do? He blows for full time. Well, after a really positive opening 20 minutes, things completely and utterly unravelled as the game progressed. 2 goals from that man Patrick Schick was our undoing here today, as at full time it finishes Manchester United 4, Everton 1. Well, bearing in mind Manchester United were 11th place before they played us here today, I was really hoping that we might be able to get something from this game. And whilst they haven't managed to leapfrog us in the league, they have dragged us down now to 9th place, and we're really starting to struggle here. We just can't seem to put together a decent run of games. Fortunately enough though, look how tight it is between us and 4th place Aston Villa, only 5 points between us, so we are still in the hunt for Champions League football this season. However, after losing to Liverpool 3-2 at Goodison Park, courtesy of a late Merlin goal in the 85th minute, we do manage to get back on track away from home against Bournemouth though, after a hard-fought 1-0 victory, courtesy of a late goal from Beto. The inconsistencies continue though, as another late gut-wrenching goal, this time from Newcastle in the 88th minute, means that we drop another 3 points as they beat us 3-2. And we can't seem to get over the line at home to Burnley, as a 0-0 draw is only enough to secure a point. And I've got to be honest, whilst I love the idea of having 2 strikers up front, it has left our form in the league a little bit up and down over the last couple of months. Unfortunately, dropping us out of the European spots, now dropped down to 8th, sandwiched between Arsenal and Manchester United. And so I think it's finally time for me to take matters back into my own hands as we head off to Stamford Bridge to face off against Chelsea. And because of our poor form and because of a little bit of fatigue creeping in, I have decided to make a couple of changes to the usual starting 11. Williams comes in at right back in place of Patterson, and it's all change on the left-hand side as Hatter comes in at left back, and ahead of him is Mudryk in left midfield. A big game calls for a really big result, and we absolutely have to get a big result here in London against Chelsea. It's going to be a tough ask, but I'm confident the boys can turn this momentum on its head. Jackson into Christopher Nkunku. Branthwaite comes across with a big challenge though, and Willems wins it back well and then delivers a lovely pass into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Tries to go around the corner. He's tussling though with Badiashile, but the Frenchman gets the ball back and wins it well for Chelsea. Reece James on the right hand side looks to come central, instead goes around the corner to an overlapping Enzo Fernandez, and he goes past Mudryk, who I'm sure will be keen to put in a sterling performance against his on loan parent club, as Nicholas Jackson in the box though gets that Chelsea team off to a firing start inside the opening 10 minutes. Well, we just can't seem to buy a win at the moment, and once again Chelsea just carved through our defence like a knife through butter. A brilliant finish from Nicholas Jackson. He gave Pickford absolutely no chance, and inside 10 minutes Chelsea have an early lead here at Stamford Bridge. Into Onana. Onana into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's come deep to try and see if he can get involved in the play here. Turning though, can't seem to find any sort of option. Branthwaite has it, plays it into the feet of Beto. He gives it to Dele Alli. Dele Alli is almost blocked off. Can he find a ball into Dominic Calvert-Lewin? No, he can't. Cucurella got there ahead of him. Branthwaite, a defence-splitting pass, really nicely done there, and Beto now has it, but he's looking for options, but Chelsea are defending in numbers. He gives it to Onana. Onana, one touch into Dele Alli. Dele Alli turns on his right, tries to strike. Good defending again. Enzo Fernandez into Nicholas Jackson. Pareo now into Christopher Nkunku. Chelsea try to hit us on the counter-attack, and Raheem Sterling has it now, drives into the box. Willems is frantically trying to get back here. Oh my word. Absolutely shocking from Raheem Sterling. Hato down the left-hand side. Mudryk is wide, but he's coming in central now to try and see if he can get involved in the play. Tried to fire it all the way across to the right-hand side, but lost it in a really dangerous position. But Tarkowski comes across. Good challenge though from my captain, and then he almost lost it again. Chelsea pressuring high up the pitch here in typical Pochettino style. Beto though tries to turn it around the corner, and again we just can't seem to get any sort of rhythm here today, and any sort of rhythm in this episode, to be honest, ever since we switched to 2 up front. But it is still a formation that I'm hoping we can try and see if we can get the best out of our strikers from. Mudryk now into Beto. Beto is going to try and turn it around the corner into Mudryk. He has done the job here, and now the Ukrainian can drive into the box against his former club. Oh, perhaps he should have shot. He got the cross wrong, and that is a big opportunity that's gone begging there. Reece James being chased down by Onana. Lovely ball into Buendia. Buendia into Enzo Fernandez, who's almost taken out there by Tarkowski. It's Nkunku into Buendia again. He drives in the box, and oh my word, I thought that was going to be 2-0 there. Somehow Buendia has missed, and somehow we get away with one. Nkunku, the Chelsea press continues. Onana wins it back well though into Dele Alli. He goes into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Can we try and see if we can hit Chelsea on the counter-attack? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a lovely ball into Bakayoko. Bakayoko to strike. Bakayoko to level up the scores here at Stamford Bridge. Well, I've got to be honest, was it deserved? I'm not quite sure, but I do not care one bit. It was an incisive breakaway, and that is exactly the sort of outcome that happens when you have the spare man up front. Bakayoko was unmarked on the right-hand side. He was found, and that is a brilliant finish with his right foot across the goalkeeper to level up the scores. It's 1-1. Christopher Nkunku for Chelsea, out to Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling, lovely little dummy there to try and play it inside, but gets it back though. He's going to try and go past Willems. Oh, that's brilliant. Brilliant defending from the young Belgian. Absolutely sensational. Dele Alli gets it back now into Bakayoko. Bakayoko's going to try and release Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He has somehow managed to stay on side, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin now goes into the centre looking for Dele Alli, who strikes, and Dele Alli with a wonderful finish to turn this game on its head and give us a 2-1 lead inside the opening 7 minutes here in the second half. But once again, it was back to front, an incisive counter-attack, and Dele Alli, he still had a lot of work to do to try and find the corner from there. That is a brilliant finish from the Englishman, and what a way to mark your return to Stamford Bridge, a place where he has haunted Chelsea in the past, to get us back into the lead. It's 2-1 Everton Football Club. Raheem Sterling now trying to drive past Willems. It's been a real ding-dong battle between the two of them so far in this game. Cuts it back into Nkunku. Lovely stuff. Lovely interchanging passing between the two Chelsea men. Nicholas Jackson now has it though. Sterling trying to fashion a shot on his right, and this time it's off the bar again. Branthwaite into Tarkowski. The Chelsea press is absolutely relentless. We cannot do anything to escape it as Raheem Sterling wins the ball back dangerously here. Drives into the box. I think Tarkowski's just done enough to block off that run, but Sterling still has it now into Cucurella. Sterling has been so dangerous all game. Willems comes across. Good defending once again. We've got to do something to try and shut off this Chelsea press. It is absolutely relentless. We're not using the long ball efficiently enough here to try and beat the presses. And Nkunku now into Jackson. Branthwaite with the challenge. He can't get the ball clear. He's desperately trying to get it away. But this time Enzo Fernandez just fires it into the arms of Jordan Pickford. Willems down the right-hand side. Finds Bakayoko ahead of him. Chelsea just seem to have numbers everywhere. They're just outnumbering us all over the pitch. Dominic Calvert-Lewin though came across. That wasn't the man who I wanted to get the ball there. I wanted Willems with the overlap. Instead, Onana now has it. Plays it into Dele Alli. He turns. He's going to find Mudryk on the left-hand side. Mudryk's going to line up a strike and get it all wrong. Well, we've got just under 10 minutes here to hold on to what will be a much-needed win here at Stamford Bridge, and a huge win and a huge 3 points in our fight for European places this season in the Premier League. But Raheem Sterling goes again. This man has been so dangerous for Chelsea all game. Willems comes across to try and put a halt to that run. Instead, he cuts inside, but the Belgian once again puts in a wonderful challenge, and now we can try and hit Chelsea on the counter-attack, and it's Decore now on as a substitute, drives into the box. Can he find the goal? Oh my word, no he can't. What a miss from Decore. That was the chance to put the game to bed on as a substitute. He was fresh in his mind, fresh in his legs, but he just could not find the back of the net. So poor from the man. Beto into Mykolenko with the overlap now. I'm just going to try and drive to the corner flag here. We are deep into stoppage time. The Ukrainian just trying to hold on to the ball here. Can we try and see if we can hold on for a big, big win here today? Mykolenko instead is going to try and drive it across. Reece James with the block. Pedro Gonçalves will bring it away. He's been chased down by Danjuma as the referee blows for full time. While Chelsea absolutely battered us from pillar to post, the pressure and the high press was relentless, but somehow we managed to escape with the 3 points. It was a very much a hit and run victory here today, but that man Dele Alli, his goal was enough to prove the difference between the two teams. As at full time here at Stamford Bridge, it finishes Chelsea 1, Everton 2. It was a massive moment for Dele Alli. It was his 6th goal in the Premier League so far. He's got 6 goals and 7 assists in 27 appearances. To be fair, having been out in the cold for so long, that's actually a pretty decent return for the Englishman. And whilst our return to winning ways only keeps us in 8th place of the Premier League, it does cut the gap to Aston Villa in 5th place to just 4 points, and also cut the gap to Newcastle in 4th place to just 8. And with just 5 games remaining left in our Premier League campaign this season, can we do what no other team expected us to do at the beginning of the season and qualify for Europe? But that is going to be it for today's episode. I hope you can join me next time for what is going to be a smashing season finale. I hope you've enjoyed today, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Inconsistency has plagued our season, but with just 5 games remaining in today's season finale, can Everton do the unthinkable and go from relegation battlers to European qualifiers? Let's find out. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, we're currently sitting in 8th place in the Premier League, a whopping 8 points behind Newcastle United in the final Champions League spot. However, we are only just 4 points behind Aston Villa in the 5th and final Europa League spot. However, unfortunately, they do have 2 games in hand on us. But with the likes of Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Luton Town and Sheffield United finally finishing off with Arsenal away in the league, I'm pretty happy that we've got a fairly favourable run-in the last few games of the season, and I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to surpass the board's objectives of just finishing mid-table, and potentially be able to do something quite special this season. However, when I put the question to you asking if you had the same level of confidence in this team that I do, asking whether or not you thought I was going to be able to qualify for the Champions League, whether I was going to be able to get into the Europa League, whether I was only going to be able to make it to the Europa Conference League, or if it was going to be a complete bottle job and to get absolutely no European football ahead of next season, I think it was a fairly sensible reply. The overwhelming majority was that people thought I would be able to qualify for the Europa Conference League this season. Although with people suspecting that I was going to perform a bottle job and have no European football for next season, I'm not quite sure whether or not I should laugh or cry. However, as I said, bearing in mind we are 8th place in the table, sandwiched between the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester United, and normally, especially in real life, Everton find themselves way down the table, I think overall, I would actually be pretty happy if we were able to make it to the Europa Conference League this season. However, since the switch from a more classic 4-4-1-1 defence-minded formation to a far more attacking 4-4-2 diamond to try and accommodate the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front, I've got to be honest, our form has been a little bit hit and miss, picking up some losses and some draws, perhaps where we could have done a little bit better and picked up some wins. It has, however, seemed to have unlocked some of the potential talent of my more attack-minded players, with the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Bakayoko, and now Beto all managing to get into double figures across all competitions this season. Plus, more importantly, with me making the commitment at the start of the season to try and revive this man's career, Dele Alli, with him chipping in with 6 goals and 8 assists in all competitions, I think I can be pretty happy with how he's performed so far this season. The problem is, though, looking at the teams all around us, and especially the ones up above us, they have a far better defensive record than we do, and added to the fact that our goal difference is only +3, I think it's pretty clear where we need to improve ahead of the summer transfer window. Now, obviously, I brought Uriel Hato in at the very beginning of the summer, and he has performed relatively well over the course of the season. He's gone up by 2 ratings, only to 75, but he does still have that something special, and he is only 18 years of age, so I am confident he can develop into a potential world-class talent. Vitaly Mikolenko, on the other hand, yes, he's only 24, and yes, potentially he does have his best years ahead of him, but with him only being 76 rated, and him now being usurped at the left-back spot by this man Hato, potentially he's one man that I can get rid of, and potentially try and see if I can raise some additional transfer funds. However, on the other side of defence, with Ashley Young now 38 years of age and only 67 rated, retiring at the end of the season, as well as the Everton legend Seamus Coleman also retiring at the end of the season as well, it leaves the 22-year-old Nathan Patterson being the strongest right-back at the club at only 73 rated. Now, I spoke at length about the potential talent of this man Brian Willems, coming through my academy and only being 18 years of age. Clearly, he's got some room to grow and develop, and he's already gone up by 2 ratings to 63. However, with me wanting to improve my defence next season, is now the time to consider adding him to the loan list to see if he can get some first-team football elsewhere, or should I stick with the young man as I have done this season and try and see if he can grow and develop even further and oust this man Nathan Patterson as my number 1 right-back? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As for centre-back, it's pretty much a collection of fairly average players right across the board. Yes, James Tarkowski is my captain, and he has been fairly decent for me at the back so far this season. However, with him being 31 years of age and only 79 rated, he's probably not the sort of defender that I want to build the rest of my defence around for the foreseeable future. And with the likes of Michael Keane being 76 rated, the on-loan Mason Holgate 75, and of course Ben Godfrey being 76, I don't exactly have much depth. However, someone I am a little bit more excited about is this man Jared Brantwaite. He's been fairly average so far this season, hasn't exactly pulled up any trees, but he's only 21 years of age, he's already up to 77, and he is showing great potential. So maybe when the summer transfer window lines up, I might want to consider bringing someone in who can be his potential partner moving forward. However, ahead of the new season, if I want to improve on this £8 million budget that I've got remaining, I've got to make sure that I take advantage of all the games that we still have left to play, and I have to make sure that we qualify for some form of European competition this season in the Premier League. If I'm going to do that, though, I'm going to have to make sure that I get the 3 points in my very next game, and that is exactly where we're going to kick off in our first played game of this episode. We are back at Goodison Park as we host Nottingham Forest here in front of our home fans in a game that we are expecting and a game that we absolutely must get the 3 points from here today. It's Everton, Nottingham Forest at Goodison Park. And it's no change from my usual starting 11. Jordan Pickford starts in goal, Nathan Patterson at right back, Tarkowski, Brantwaite and Hato start at the rest of defence. Onana is in midfield along with Dele Alli, Bakayoko on the right and Danjuma on the left. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is partnered by Beto up front. Here we go then, a big game and a must-needed 3 points here ahead of us. We've got to try and see if we can do the business in front of our home fans. But let's see what we can do as Onana picks it up and sprays a lovely ball out to Bakayoko. I'm going to try and look for the overlapping run of Patterson. I do, and I fling it straight in. It was a decent ball in the end, but Calvert-Lewin just couldn't get on the end of it. Hatto weaving around, trying to find some options, and he finds Onana, who again weaves even more, finds Hatto again, and he goes down the line into Danjuma, who's just straight offside. Elanga into Danilo. Victor Roque now trying to skip past the challenge of Onana, does a really good job. Hatto blocks him though. Danilo picks it up and strikes with his left. Straight into the arms of Jordan Pickford. It's an easy one for the English goalkeeper. Bakayoko look for the run of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, made some good space, and he finds Beto. Beto holds it up well, plays it out to Danjuma. He's got the overlapping run of Hatto on the left-hand side. He throws it back in, looking for Dele Alli. Headed away by Danilo. Will Onana get there first? He will. Danjuma back over to the left-hand side. Hatto to throw it back in again, looking for the big head of Beto. Couldn't get on the end of it, but it's been a good start here for Everton in the opening 25 minutes. Onana over to Bakayoko. All Everton here inside the opening half an hour. Dominic Calvert-Lewin down the line into Nathan Patterson. Can he get there first? He can. It's a bit of a wild cross in the end, and it comes to nothing. Danilo for Nottingham Forest down the line into Elanga. He comes in field. He's going to turn around and look for Williams. Williams now back to Elanga. Elanga goes and gets challenged by Branthwaite. Brilliant piece of defending. And now Beto can try and stretch his legs down this left-hand side. He hasn't really got many options, but he's going to try and find Dele Alli. He was looking, sorry, it was Dominic Calvert-Lewin who made the run, but unfortunately couldn't quite find him. Victor Roque for Forest into Danilo, who's been heavily involved so far in this game, but he's yet to really spark this Nottingham Forest team into life. Elanga, though, goes past Hatto. Really nicely done. Tries to swing it in. Branthwaite comes across. Williams now has it for Forest. Turns, goes past him into Andre Santos, who's blocked off there. Nottingham Forest still have the ball, though. Elanga whips it across to the back post into Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Nottingham Forest take an undeserved, it must be said, 1-0 lead here right on the stroke of half-time. Well, once again, our defensive frailties proving to be our undoing, as it's an unmarked Callum Hudson-Odoi at the back post. No one picking him up whatsoever, and a diving header which Pickford just couldn't get to. He couldn't keep it out of the net. Too much power on it. Nottingham Forest, much to my frustration, take a 1-0 lead. Well, it's not been the first half that we would have wanted, but we're going to try and see if we can make amends here with 45 minutes left on the clock to try and see if we can get ourselves back in the game. Beto, though, into Dele Alli. He turns it around the corner into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, forces the goalkeeper into a smart stop. Tarkowski now to bring it out of defence, finds Bakayoko. This is a much better start to this half. Patterson now into the box, floats it over and looking for the head of Beto, just couldn't get there. Victor Roque now for Forest. He's going to try and be blocked off by Onana. Good defending, and then he goes and gives the ball away really cheaply. That's really poor from the Belgian, but in the end they end up running into trouble, and Hatto picks that one up. And now we're going to try and see if we can build out from the back here into Danjuma on the left. We've got 3 men up ahead of him. Beto tries to find Dele Alli, doesn't find Dele Alli. It's a poor ball, and that has pretty much been the story so far of this game for us. Callum Hudson-Odoi down the left-hand side. He's blocked off by Patterson, but in the end finds Nuno Tavares, the former Arsenal man, who bursts down this left-hand side. He's going to be tracked by Branthwaite all the way, but he goes past Branthwaite. In the end, he gives away a corner. Dele Alli down the line into Danjuma. Can we try and see if we can hit Nottingham Forest on the counter-attack? Beto back into the path of Danjuma. Really good stuff here. Tried to cut it back in. Bowley read it really well. We just can't seem to find the final ball here. It's been so poor from us inside the opening 70 minutes as Nottingham Forest now are going to try and see if they can add a second here to double our woes and add Sangaré into the striker. It's out to Callum Hudson-Odoi, the goal scorer. Pickford blasts it back into him. It's cleared off the line by Tarkowski. What on earth was Pickford doing there? Bakayoko comes across and challenges really well and wins the ball back, and now gives it to Onana. Can we try and see if we can start some sort of counter-attack? Dele Alli, it's so poor yet again up front. Into Victor Roque now. Nottingham Forest have really got their tails up, and that is a brilliant run, but a really terrible cross. Easy for Branthwaite. And now Patterson into Bakayoko again to try and build out from the back. Dominic Calvert-Lewin looks for Beto. Beto tries to play it short into Danjuma. He turns. He's blocked off again by Danilo. It's just been the story of the game. Poor quality all over the pitch from Everton, and that is really poor defending, and Roque strikes and he doubles Nottingham Forest lead here. Look at the celebration with just 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Our defence has been undone yet again. Look at the celebrations of Nottingham Forest. I mean, we are just struggling. Absolutely horrendous defending. What on earth was Tarkowski doing? And Jordan Pickford, he's had an absolute shocker in goal. He really should at least be getting a hand to that one, but he had absolutely no chance. Nottingham Forest celebrate 2-0. 2-0. Well, the Everton players are despondent, the fans are despondent, and it's no surprise to see why. In front of our own fans, we are 2-0 down against a relegation-threatened Nottingham Forest as Dominic Calvert-Lewin tries to strike, and that pretty much sums up Everton's chances all game. Unfortunately enough, though, the referee blows the whistle and puts us out of our misery. The Nottingham Forest players celebrate. It's been a delightful performance from them, but an absolutely abysmal one from us. Full time here, it finishes Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 2. It was a shocking performance all round. Somehow we managed to keep our position in 8th place in the league, but frustratingly now, with us being 5 points behind Aston Villa and them having 2 games in hand, it is getting really close to the wire if we want to qualify for Europe this season. I said I didn't know whether or not to laugh or cry when 25% of you thought I was going to bottle it this season, or perhaps you were a little bit more on the money than I anticipated. The problem at the moment defensively, we just keep getting caught on the counter-attack time after time after time. And looking at the individual roles of some of these players, to be fair, it's not really hard to see why. Specifically Onana, his attacking support duty is on balance, but I'm going to change that straight away to stay back while attacking. And as Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't exactly offer us the same level of pace that Beto does, I'm going to change his attacking runs to be focused more on being a target player, and instead I'm going to shift Beto to try and get in behind the defence. Both Bakayoko and Danjuma have been pretty anonymous on both sides of my midfield, so instead I'm going to try and see if they can both cut inside to try and get involved in the action a little bit more, and instead try and rely on both my right back and my left back to try and provide more overlapping runs to get the width out wide. And with Dele Alli coming to our rescue, scoring the one and only game in a game that managed to finish 1-0 with the first clean sheet for us in a very long time, it seems like those tactical tweaks have made an instant impact. And with another goal for Dele Alli and an early one from Beto giving us another 3 points away from home against Luton Town. 2 wins in a row have lifted us up to 7th place in the table, now just 2 points off of Aston Villa, who still though have 2 games in hand on us. However, in other more transfer related news, I've received 2 emails from my assistant manager reminding me of the loans expiring of Mudryk and Arnaut Danjuma as well. Now these are the 2 players who've been playing on the left hand side of midfield, Danjuma of course from the very start of the season and Mudryk coming in midway through. And whilst Danjuma is my 2nd highest rated player being an 80 rating, and with Mudryk only being 23 years of age still having the potential to be a pretty decent player, neither of them unfortunately have set the world alight so far this season. Danjuma, in spite of playing 35 games in all competitions, 32 of those in the Premier League, has only scored 3 goals and assisted 4 times. And as for Mudryk, 14 games in all competitions, 11 of those coming in the Premier League, but just the one single solitary goal being that wonder goal that he scored earlier on in the season. He hasn't really contributed at all and hasn't had the impact that I was hoping for. So with both of them only having 1 month left remaining on their loan contract, again, let me know down in the comments below what you think I should do. Should I consider keeping them both at the club or perhaps only keep one of them? If so, let me know which one you want. Or should I look to wipe the slate clean next season, get rid of them both and bring in some fresh new blood to play on the left hand side of my midfield? However, with only 2 games left remaining in the Premier League and the first one being against a relegation threatened Sheffield United in 19th place, with us being just 3 points behind Chelsea now in 5th place, the fight for the opportunity to play European football in the Europa Conference League next season is well and truly on. And bearing in mind I don't exactly have much strength and depth off the bench, and hot off the heels of winning our last 2 games in a row, I have maintained the usual starting 11. Let's hope to see if we can make it 3 in a row here today. Tarkowski flings it over to the left-hand side to an unmarked Hato, who's very, very advanced so far at the beginning of this game. Plays it short to Onana. Onana looks forward, gives it away. That is pretty much the pass of a central defensive midfielder, if I've ever seen one. Ahmed Allah now out to Hammer in the centre of the park. He plays a lovely ball into Archer. Sheffield United looking to put down their authority early here as they force Pickford into a good save. Going to be a short corner that Fleck looks like he's going to be the man to take. He does take it short and he finds Hammer, who goes out to the edge of the box. This looks like something straight out of the training ground here. Archer picks it up. The block is from Hato. A good block from the left back. Sheffield United, though, keep it alive. Vinny Souza now has it. He goes to Alhamasic, who plays it into Hammer again. He's been very dangerous so far in this game. It's a lovely ball into Baldock, and what a strike, and what a brilliant goal inside the opening 16 minutes. But fortunately enough for me, the linesman flags it for offside. Let's just see how close that was on the replay. He is, oh my word, it was very, very close. But fortunately enough for me, I breathe a sigh of relief. It remains 0-0. Branthwaite all the way over to Patterson on the right-hand side, unmarked, plays a nice ball into the feet of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who turns the defender really nicely here, and plays a wonderful ball into Beto, who strikes. Good save from the goalkeeper. See, that is the sort of build-up play I was hoping for. Just Dominic Calvert-Lewin dropping into the pockets of space and releasing Beto with a nice ball, but instead, it is Bakayoko who plays a fabulous ball into the box from the corner, and it is the captain, the man mounted at the back for me this season, Tarkowski, who once again rises highest in the penalty area and loops a wonderful header over over the goalkeeper to give us a 1-0 lead here at Goodison Park. What a brilliant goal, and let's check out the replay. A fabulous corner in, and James Tarkowski rises highest, and it's an absolute bullet header over the goalkeeper. Everton lead here as he celebrates 1-0. Archer for Sheffield United. They're going to try and see if they can look to strike back immediately, and that's a nice little pass into Baldock there. He has it. He's being chased down by Brantwaite. Does a good enough job of holding him off, though. He's looking for options, turns, finds Ahmed Haller. He's going to try and look over the right-hand side, but instead finds Fleck. He finds Archer, who strikes straight at Pickford. Dominic Calvert-Lewin once again has come short and once again plays a nice ball into Beto, who just turns around the defender really nicely. Looks to play it into Danjuma. Danjuma has the pace and the acceleration to get it away from the defender. He's going to try and see if he can play a ball into the box here, but goes all the way back to Onana because he runs out of options. Onana now has it. He goes infield to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He turns. He strikes from distance straight at the goalkeeper, and in the end he makes a bit of a meal of it, but he does clear it away. Baldock now for Sheffield United. It's played right to the back post here. Fleck gets onto the end of it, plays it back in for Larouche. Brantwaite, though, comes across with a huge challenge and a much-needed challenge, and now Dominic Calvert-Lewin can try and stretch his legs. I'm going to try and play this one over to Beto. Looks to run the channels. He took it down well. Doesn't really have many options, but manages to hold it up decently enough. He's going to cut back now into Dele Alli. The ball was behind him into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I was expecting him to run in front, but instead just got it wrong as the referee blows for half-time. Fleck to start off this second half. That is a fabulous ball into Ahmed Haller. Oh my word, what a brilliant way for Sheffield United to start off this second half. My defence fell completely asleep and we were opened up by a defence-splitting pass if I've ever seen one. Let's check out the replay here. What a ball. Cut my defence in half, and it's a brilliant finish just round Jordan Pickford into the bottom left-hand corner. Gave him no chance, and unfortunately for me, Sheffield United back on level terms. Well, after doing all the hard work in the first half, it's been completely undone here. Archer tries to go round the defence, looks for Fleck again, he gets it back, Archer strikes. What is happening? Sheffield United have turned this game on its head. What on earth is my defence doing time after time after time? There is lapses of judgment and just leaving acres of space in just spaces that the Sheffield United players are taking up. What were we doing? Why did Tarkowski just stop running? It's a brilliant finish, but again, Jordan Pickford beaten at his near post. I'm frustrated, 2-1. What are we doing? It's an absolute shambles this episode. We can't seem to string any passes together, and our defence has been nothing short of woeful. Sheffield United have really got their tails up here now. They've got possession of the ball in my half again. Now Hammer plays a lovely ball into Archer. Archer looks to be held up by Tarkowski. Plays it back into Baldock, though. He looks for Hammer again. Sheffield United are looking to hammer in the final nail in my coffin here, if they can do just that. Archer on the edge of the box. He's been blocked off by Hatto. He strikes. Oh my word, this is a total disaster. Sheffield United are making an absolute mockery of us here at Goodison Park. My defence are just so slow. I am absolutely smashing the circle button to try and see if they'll put in a challenge. No one's doing anything. Jordan Pickford's so poor again at the near post, and Sheffield United lead 3-1 here at Goodison Park. Arushi into Archer, into the channel. Tarkowski comes across to cover, though. Good defending, finally, from one of my centre-backs. Now Hatto has it, though. He's going to try and play a ball forward into Beto. Beto's going to look to go down the line into Mudryk, who's come on as a substitute in place of Danjuma. He's got the pace now to try and get away from the left-back. Throws it into the box, looking for the head of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It goes off for a corner, though, that Bakayoko is going to take. This is how we scored our first goal. Can we try and see if we can score our second this way? Tarkowski gets it all wrong, though. Into Hammer again. That man has been so influential here for Sheffield United in the second half. They have just completely dominated us. We've totally fallen asleep, and they're looking for a fourth here. It's Jayden Bogle into the box. A brilliant head from Fleck, and a good save from Jordan Pickford. It's kept alive, though, Archer. Jordan Pickford again with a good save. My defence just, I don't even know what to say at this point. They just don't even look like they're looking at the players ahead of them. What is happening here? Fleck now into Thomas on the edge of the box. He's being chased down by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Goes all the way out to the left-hand side. Decore comes across to try and challenge him. Fleck has it again. No one at all putting in a challenge. Archer now has it. He just brushes off the challenge of Patterson. Fleck, what a save from Pickford. They are just walking through my defence. It's a total shambles. Arguably, it's one of our worst performances all season at a time where we needed to put in a decent performance as Archer forges another big save out of Jordan Pickford. Well, Sheffield United have got another corner. I'm losing count of the amount of corners they've had all game. It's thrown into the box. Pickford again comes to the rescue. But once again, the referee comes to our rescue as he blows the full-time whistle to put us out of our misery. The players are asking questions of themselves. They can't quite believe what has happened in the second half. A 15-minute period completely undone all the good work we did in the first half as we lose here at full-time 3-1. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know what to say at this point. Arguably, our worst performance of the season, and arguably the most crucial time in the season. And with that loss meaning that we're now 5 points behind Aston Villa and 4 points behind Chelsea, the highest we're going to be able to finish this season is 7th. Is that going to be high enough for Europa Conference League football next season? I have absolutely no idea. And with us facing off against Arsenal away, an Arsenal team that have Mo Salah in their ranks at the Emirates in front of their home fans, it's going to be a really tough ask to try and get 3 points here in our final game of the season. However, considering how topsy-turvy our momentum and our form has been this season, who knows? And as it is the final game of the season, I am making some big changes. Willems comes in to play at right back in place of Patterson, who drops to the bench. Garner comes in place of Onana, who's been pretty poor in the last few games. And Mudryk comes in to play for his place in an Everton shirt ahead of the new season as he starts on the left-hand side of midfield in place of Danjuma, who drops to the bench. Well, we lost at the start of this episode, and we lost just against Sheffield United right then. We're now facing off against the best team of all of them. What are we going to do? Branthwaite to try and bring it out of defence, and he runs himself into trouble, and he runs into a Mo Salah who is rampant in the Premier League this season. He's got the pace to get away from Dele Alli. Jordan Pickford with a flying save. Arsenal don't keep it in play, goes out for a corner. Well, it's 7 minutes in here and we're already under the cosh. Mendy has it. Garner, though, comes across, starting ahead of Onana, shows why it was the right decision to put him in there. And now look at him, he's driving down the right-hand side. Doesn't have any options, he doesn't really have the pace to get away from the defender, but does play a lovely ball into Bakayoko. And Bakayoko's going to float it in, looking for the head of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, gets the cross all wrong. Tarkowski goes short into Mudryk, who's come central, finds Hato on the overlap. Hato back into Dele Alli, who strikes. How much he would love to score against Arsenal. Martinelli for Arsenal. They're going to try and see if they can hit us on the counter-attack. They go out to Mendy on the left-hand side. He's being chased down by Willems. Really, really nicely done by the Belgian. Can he play a nice ball into the path of Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Yes, he does. Calvert-Lewin drives into the box, strikes with his right. Good save from Ramsdale. Bakayoko's going to take the resulting corner. James Tarkowski is up. He is the target, heads it down. Another good save from Ramsdale, though. Jorginho now for Arsenal. He's being chased down by Dele Alli, but he manages to skip past him. Where is the challenge? No one else putting in a challenge on him. Martinelli now has it in place. Plays it across to Mo Salah, the danger man, on the right-hand side. Hato tried to challenge him. Didn't do a good enough job. Walters now cuts it back. Looks for Aziz. He finds Mo Salah, who strikes. Good save. End-to-end stuff here at the Emirates. Both teams looking like they're going to score each time they enter the other's half. As Martinelli now has it. He's being chased down by Mudryk. Good defending, but Salah picks up the scraps and gives it to El Neni. It's Jules who picks it up and strikes. Goes wide. Branthwaite, oh my God, he's under loads of pressure there, and he gives it to Martinelli, and Martinelli puts it in the back of the net and says thank you very much. It's the easiest goal he'll score all season. Yet again, slack defending, and Mo Salah yet again being the man to take advantage, give it straight into the path of Martinelli, and look at that for a finish. Gave Pickford absolutely no chance. Arsenal lead 1-0. Branthwaite to bring it out of defence, goes into Dele Alli, who tries to turn El Neni, and then he does a good job of challenging him though, and Arsenal once again can break here. We're frantically trying to make up the spaces as we try and see if we can get the ball back immediately, but Arsenal are just working the ball really nicely here into Martinelli. He's almost blocked off by Tarkowski. Mo Salah, sorry, Aziz has it. He strikes straight at Pickford, who clears it away into the path of Hato, who will hack this one clear. Mudryk now. Mudryk goes in field for Beto. He's got an overlapping run of Mudryk, and he does manage to find him again. Mudryk now has space to drive into. He's going to try and drive into the box. Can I look for the cutback into Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Yes, I can. What a save from Ramsdale. Well, that was the chance. He should have scored. He must score, but he didn't. And now we only get a corner. It's thrown in by Dele Alli. It's headed away by Martinelli. Only out as far as Mudryk. Dele Alli has it again, throws it back in, looks for Beto with the head off the bar. Well, we've had chances, I would argue. We've actually created the most clear-cut chances all episode here against Arsenal in the first half, but frustratingly we find ourselves 1-0 down, and Arsenal now are in the ascendancy with Mo Salah down the right-hand side, cuts inside, goes past Hato. He can't go past Branthwaite. Yes, he can go past Branthwaite. He goes past 2, goes past 3 into Jorginho, and Arsenal take a 2-goal lead here right at the start of the second half. Jorginho slides on his knees. He knows the damage is done, and he knows that's exactly how Arsenal would have wanted to start this second half. Mo Salah, yet again the danger man, plays a lovely ball into Jorginho. We just didn't cut off the supply. We didn't put in a strong enough challenge, and in the end, Jorginho is on hand to fire past Pickford. Arsenal lead 2-0. Slack defending yet again is costing us. It's cost us all episode. It's cost us all season now, to be honest, but it has really come to the fore this episode. Timber down the right-hand side into Walters. Arsenal sensing blood here. They sense they could be onto a real rout here. As now John Jules into the penalty area. Aziz looks for Martinelli. He turns. Pickford with a good save. 60 minutes on the clock here. And to be honest, we do not look like we are going to score in this second half. It's been a really poor performance. Arsenal really in the ascendancy, but Mudryk wins the ball back. He's being challenged though, but just about manages to get past two players. Really good stuff from the Ukrainian. Branthwaite now to bring it out of defence. Has he got any options? Plays it in field for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's come short. Finds Dele Alli. Going to look for the run out wide of Hato. The ball was on to Beto there. He didn't quite find him. Dele Alli though will now try and look for him a second time. Loses it. And again, that is pretty much the story of Everton Football Club this episode. John Jules into Jorginho, who's really advanced. John Jules gets it back from him though. It's blocked off by Garner, but John Jules has it again. Aziz tries to strike. It's a poor one. Straight into the arms of Pickford. Branthwaite into Beto. Beto round the corner into Hato. Hato's going to look for the run. He looks for Mudryk on the left-hand side, who's got the pace to get away from the right back, and he drives down this left-hand side. Going to try and cut it back into Beto, who strikes with his left. Good save from Ramsdale. It's kept alive by Bakayoko. Bakayoko tries to strike on his left. Blocked. Corner. Well, that's the first proper opportunity we've had all second half here. Dele Alli's going to try and throw it in. Can we get a lifeline? It's into Bakayoko. Headed away by Martinelli. Only out as far as Branthwaite. He gets onto the loose ball and finds Tarkowski. Not the man I would have wanted, but he drives into the box. What a strike. What a save from Ramsdale. It's hacked clear. Garner into Hato. This is much better from Everton Football Club, but is it too little too late? Dominic Calvert-Lewin round the corner into Hato again. This time I'm going to try and throw it in, looking for Bakayoko at the back post. Doesn't find him. El Neni now for Arsenal to look to try and see if they can hit us on the counter-attack. Jorginho into Martinelli. Aziz has it, looks for the danger man Mo Salah. Hato though has the beating of him this time around, and he wins the ball back here. Now can he try and see if he can drive down this left-hand side? I'm going to try and play a ball into Mudryk. Timber's too strong for him, and again it's really poor from us. Dele Alli now trying to drive down the left-hand side yet again. Cuts in field, looks for Beto. Beto doesn't really have any options. He shapes up to strike straight at Ramsdale. Well, we're deep into stoppage time. Arsenal lead 2-0, and if we do score, surely this is just going to be a consolation. It's thrown back in, looking for the header, Tarkowski! And Tarkowski once again is the man who comes to our rescue. Another bullet header from the centre-back. But is it too little too late for Everton? I mean, I feel like pretty much every goal so far this episode has come from that man, James Tarkowski. He has been an absolute rocket in the box for us, but we couldn't find him earlier on. We found him this time though. His head's too strong for the man on the line, as it's 2-1 here as the referee blows for full time. Jordan Pickford cannot believe it. He cannot believe we've lost our third played game on the bounce here in this episode. As at full time here at the Emirates, it finishes Arsenal 2, Everton 1. And frustratingly, with Jorginho grabbing the winner against us, it means 25% of you were absolutely correct. A total and utter bottle job this episode. Everton Football Club finished 9th place in the Premier League. Strangely enough, we've hit all the board objectives and they're actually in pretty good spirits. But bearing in mind where we were just a couple of months ago in the Premier League, it's a pretty frustrating way to end the season. Dominic Calvert-Lewin finishes the season our highest goal scorer, scoring 11 goals, 10 of those coming in the Premier League with 7 assists. And Beto is actually tied with him with 11 goals in all competitions, but only 9 of those coming in the Premier League. Bakayoko finishes off with 10 goals and 7 assists, and Dele Alli finishes off 8 and 8 in all competitions. But looking at this starting 11 and looking at the squad overall, with most of my players still rated in the 70 bracket, it's clear that I've got a lot of work to do in the summer to try and see if I can improve this squad. However, that is that for the end of today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you will join me for what is hopefully going to be a very exciting start to Season 2 at Everton Football Club. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you again next time.